better. Okay, we should be live on Twitch now, so we'll just start. So, welcome everyone to the ANZ Combined Racing League's Bathurst 1000. We'll be broadcasting with Gear 3 Gaming. He'll be taking you on. Yeah, welcome Gear, and we'll be into the practice session at the moment, of the 30-minute practice. We've got 24 minutes remaining, and these are all the Session 1 drivers at the moment, taking control of their cars. And after this practice session, we'll be looking at the top 10 shootout, and Gear will go through the whole session with that, and we'll be able to see their hot lap. So welcome to our event, Gear. It should be an exciting event.
Yeah, so thank you very much for having me along. First of all, I have checked the box in the party that says include my audio, so I think my audio should be on. Is it okay?
I'd say so.
Alright then, well, welcome along to Woody Lizard's Mixer Channels, playing host to the Bathurst 1000, the first session of the Bathurst 1000 for this year in ANZ, and this time it's the final round of the championship at the Mount Panorama Circuit. It's 6.213 kilometres around here, and it is one of the most historic tracks in Australian motorsport. Opened in 1938, and it's play host to the Bathurst 1000, the Bathurst 12 hour, and the Bathurst 6 hour, and of course we're simulating that today. It's been a long season of supercars, and it comes to its conclusion today. And if we go to Shads is partnering up with Uncrewed Squid for this weekend, and Squid has won the championship with Cavini, so that's fantastic. Congratulations to Squid. However, the battle will still be on for second place, so who is actually starting Speed Racer's car? Is that... Well, I think Speed should be...
Yeah, Speed Racer is actually going to be starting the session.
I can't see him, though. Hold on. Oh, there he is, we're back. Okay, yeah, so Speed Racer, he's partnering up with Darky. The competition is still on for second place in the main championship, and I believe he's fighting that out with Shad. So if the Shad's and Uncrewed car does well this weekend, and Speed Racer doesn't do so well, Shad's might be able to jump up to second in the championship. However, that championship is all said and done. It's Uncrewed Squid who has won the championship. And is that his first Supercars championship, or has he won any others?
He's won the unofficial one that we did earlier last summer, I think it was, which wasn't actually part of the series.
He won that, but did he win the Super, or the World Tour or whatever it was back then?
No, I don't think he did. I have to look that one up. Yeah,
and also, if this car here, the number 43, which is of course being driven by Shad's Uncrewed Squid, if this car wins, Uncrewed Squid will be the second man in ANZ history to win the ANZ Triple Crown, which of course consists of the Indianapolis 500, the Le Mans 24 Hours, and of course this race here, and he may end up with a glass, I don't know what those trophies were made out of, but they were a very nice looking trophy. He might be the second one to get one of those trophies.
Oh, he's still got to win the Indy 500 though, so you'll have to come back next year for that. Yeah, it was Shads that took that last year, and yeah, so they've actually, they're actually the defending champions for Bathurst. They won the Bathurst 1000 last year, both Shads and Squid, Unscrewed Squid.
Oh yeah. So actually, yeah, we should probably run through the grid actually. So of course we've talked about this car enough. It's number 43 Evil Knievel car, and then of course we have Highlander, who's sharing the number 3 modelling car with Sado. Which is a big threat for the victory. Another big threat. They're a good pairing. Yeah, he was the second man of the season to actually go back to back in a weekend. And Uncrewed Squid was of course the first to do that, and then it was Sado who did that. Then we actually also, as I mentioned with Highlander, Highlander is only doing this session, and then he's handing over to Sado for the rest of the race. So Highlander's just going to want to do well in the first session, and hand over an undamaged car to Sado. Then we have Speed Racer. He's in contention for second in the championship in the number 5 car. He's sharing the Basmone car with Dark Racing 40. Then we have Reiso, who's stopped at the side of the track. He is in the... He's in the
48.
The 48 Sport Tracker. And
Exhaust Systems, and he's teaming up. Yeah, go, sorry.
Yeah, he's sharing that car with RSJ, and well, both of these guys have been very prominent throughout the midfield throughout the season, so expect to see some action from those two. Then we have Lockie.
Just before we go on about RSJ, he's actually fighting for first in the Open division, in the Super 2 division, between Fish Racing. So there's 300 points on offer, but there's only there's 200, and the difference for those two is 213. So basically they need Fish Racing and Colonel Lloyd to basically get a non-result here at Bathurst for Blade Racer to take the Super 2 championship.
Well, it certainly isn't impossible. The mountain decides who it wants to do well, I suppose.
Yeah,
then,
crazy things can happen.
Yeah, and then we have Triple in the 09 Illuminati Kermit car, technically called the Lumency car, and this car has been another car that's been extremely prominent throughout the midfield. He's been known for his amazing strategies, and he's put those to great effect multiple times, and I believe he's sharing this car with Dado Racer, so definitely one to look out for.
I think that could be the dark horse of actually the race gear. I think this one to be really looking, because they've both been putting in some very good times, both drivers.
Yeah. Then we
Things
have...
go their way.
Yeah. Then we have Lost Vanish, who I believe is actually new for this season, and he's fielding the number 13 Satmail car, and he's sharing that car with
Derpy Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Derpy Dan. It's been a while since he's been in our group, so he's a bit of a wild card entry.
Yeah, exactly. Then it's Emu in the number 12 Jed K Bob's racing car. Talking about the unofficial championship we ran last year, this was the car that Shads drove from memory, my teammate. And Emu today is sharing that car with Night Pegasus.
Yeah, and they've got a battle. Night Pegasus is third in the Super 2 championship as well, and both and then Emu's fourth. So they're going to be fighting Blade Racer to try and topple him to get second in the championship. Night Pegasus with a good result. 300 points on offer, as we said.
Yeah, and then we have Cringy Criminal, who is in the number 51. I haven't seen this one before, actually. Well, I haven't seen this in action before. The Pies Motorsport machine and he's sharing this car with Nuclear Chocolate, just as he's getting himself into some traffic here, coming down the start-finish straight.
Yeah, they've been running in Super 2. They've been improving each round of the 6 rounds that we ran. So look for them to show a good little mid-pack challenge throughout the race. Obviously the battle will be to see if they can stay on the lead lap or only be a lap down, and have a battle throughout each session.
Then rounding off the field at the moment, it's Colonel Lloyd in, well actually, what number is that? That's the 33, which is the...
38, is it?
Oh, sorry, 38, is it? Oh yes, it is. This is a Kume car.
Yeah, Saku. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's sharing that car with Fish Racing. Colonel Lloyd, it's been a bit of an up and down season for him, especially at Watkins Glen. He was probably on track for a win, but because he had issues in pit lane, he dropped all the way down through the field, so he sort of threw that away, and I'm not sure if that's been on his mind, but if it is, he'll be wanting to do well here at Bathurst. And of course, he's with the good guys with Fish Racing, so maybe we could expect a good result from those two. And I think there are a few we haven't talked about. There's Blade Racer here, so obviously he's leading Super 2 in the number 7 car. Or is that number 7? Yesterday.
No, he's not lead. He's actually second in Super 2, just to correct. He's chasing Fish Racing. So Fish Racing with Colonel Lloyd in the Sakium number 38 car. Fish Racing actually at the moment is leading Super 2. So they just need to basically finish the race in a good position, and that should give Fish Racing the Super 2 championship over Blade Racer. But Blade Racer is going to be racing 3 sessions, I believe, in this event. And he's teaming up with Jetto, which will take control of the 3rd session. So Blade Racer, as we know, is a very fast single few lap race. He's got one of the fastest times at 1:58 around Bathurst, so you've got to see if he can get that into a good consistent race pace. At the moment, he looks like he's concentrating on it. Doing what's he doing there? Gears at 201, I think it is.
That is 201.7 from Blade Racer so far, which is pretty competitive. It's good enough for 4th at the moment, considering he's in Super 2 and he's mixing it with some of these really, really quick guys. Should mention, fastest time at the moment is a 2-minute 0.4 from Chads, which is followed by Lockie, who's on a 2-minute 1 at 0.6. So he's doing pretty well in practice, Lockie is. And then we have Speed Racer, who's in 3rd at the moment with a 201.6. Well, a 201.6, so he's actually very, very close to Lockie at the moment. Then it's Blade Racer with a 201.7, and then we're getting sort of into the 202s.
Yeah, and so just to let people know that they're actually watching the coverage at the moment, how this actually runs for the hour event. We have 4 sessions, and each session is 40 laps. They're set for the final session. The final session we will see 41 laps, and that'll make the total of 161 laps. And we'll run the 2 sessions today, so we've got the first 40 lapper, which will be following the top 10 shootout, and then we'll have about a half an hour break before we get into session 2, and that'll be another 40 laps race. And there's predicted obviously of some light rain near the end of that session, so that should be very interesting just to mix a few things up. This session here we're looking at medium cloud to heavy cloud.
Oh yeah.
And how we start the in between the sessions, so we can swap drivers, have driver swaps. Depending if the lap you finished the race for the previous session is basically the running order of how you're going to start the 2nd session. So all the cars on the same lap will organise themselves off in a rolling start to go single file for one of the laps of the 40 in the 2nd session, and they will then basically base that on the safety car. And go single file, and the leader will then take control of the race coming down into the final corner. And cars that are laps down, they're to move off the grid, and they'll just be parked off on the grass on the pit exit area, and they'll wait until the number of laps down that they are fallen before they can rejoin the race. And we've limited the amount of laps that people can be down by 8, because that'll be roughly a 20-minute race. Wait on the grass there, so we don't want people waiting too long, as the race sessions would be about an hour and a half, you reckon, there for about 40 minutes, Ski?
Well, yeah, 40 laps.
40 laps.
40 laps times 2, but they're about 2 minutes each, so yeah, 80 minutes of running for pretty much each session. Do we have people watching, by the way?
Yeah, we've got 10 people at the moment watching.
10 people, okay, good. So, well, obviously somebody would have said that, Gears audio's not working if it wasn't. So, I'm assuming everything's going all right then. Blade Racer's gone quick. Yeah, Blade Racer's gone quickest, by the way. He's done a 2-minute 0.042, which has put him 4/10 faster than Shad's, which is incredibly impressive. Definitely look out for Blade Racer this Bathurst 1000. I reckon he could be possibly somebody who can win the race, actually.
He's, the things that's going to be really a challenge for him is in the Super 2 he's been able to blast off into the distance in a lot of races without too much of a challenge. So as we all know, it's easy to do laps on your own, but when you've got someone else on your bumper coming around the top here, it can force you into a mistake. So yeah, damage is on in this event. So too much hitting the wall and causing too much aero damage is going to cost you time down the straight, and also increase your engine damage. So very important for the guys to keep the cars on the as straight as they can through the session. And what we've got just under 10 minutes remaining before we go to the big top 10 shootout, which should be very interesting. I'm really looking forward to it here, just to see how the guys run. We've got 11 runners, so there'll be one guy that I think it's
a cringy criminal.
Actually, it's the one that's actually has to just sit out the session. So it should be very interesting.
Yeah, actually, the qualifying sections throughout the season have actually been some of the most exciting sessions. I mean, there have been qualifying sessions that have been decided in the final minutes and by very, very small amount of time. I can think of Long Beach as an example of a qualifying that went down to the wire. There were probably about 4 cars that could have gone to pole, and it went down to the very, very last minute. And if we can get that sort of thing here, if we can get close times in the top 10 shootout, it should be incredibly interesting to watch, even if there is only one car on track at any given time. And as you said, damage is on for these sessions, and Blade Racer's car looks like it could be in need of some duct tape, because it looks like it's found the wall a couple of times.
Yeah, sometimes that actually shows up where they've had the damage and they've gone straight back into the pits and not actually sat in the pits to repair damage. There's a little glitch in the game, so it'll show up a lot of the damage that they've had before, so he might not be actually seeing that damage while he's driving at the moment.
Yeah, most of these guys are looking pretty clean right now. Chad's, his car's looking relatively good. Oh, and it looks like, is that Blade Racer in the 13 car? Oh, not Blade Racer, sorry. It's the number 13 Satmel car, he held him up there, and he's looped it in turn 1. So that's not gone particularly well for Shad.
That's Loft finish. Loft finish in the 13. So I've just been having a look at some of the comments here. We mentioned that your audio was terrible, but it looks like it's actually got better. So I've been told it's better now, so it must be good.
All right, fingers crossed. I mean, as long as it was working. So I mean, hopefully that stays relatively good throughout the race. Just let Woody know if something's going wrong with that, and I'll attempt to rectify it. But
by all means, I think everything's working pretty good at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like it is. I mean, we had a couple of issues before.
And just brushing that wall.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, as I was saying, we had a couple of issues before, but it looks like we are just getting through. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the issues that reared their ugly heads before don't cause too many problems throughout this. So obviously, yeah, we're seeing a lot of guys going into the wall around the top of the track, and that is definitely something you do not want to do, because you're going through there very, very quickly, and if you go into the wall, you'll pick up a lot of damage, and that'll be very, very costly both on track and in the pit lane as well. So, want to keep it out of the wall, keep it on the straight and narrow.
Yes, and these as the tyres wear out and the fuel load burns, the cars do move around a lot, so a lot of these guys, you will find that they've done a lot of mock sessions to really get the feel of the car with the fuel load, fuel burn.
Yeah, they've had 2 weeks to practice for this race. We had a break after the race at Zolder, and that gave us a lot of time to practice. Also, we had the real-life Bathurst 1000 in between the round at Zolder and now, so people have had time to maybe take some pointers from the real-life racing drivers, and they've also had time to practice for the main event, which is taking place over the next couple of days. Looks like Lockie might be doing some pit stop practice at the moment, because he has just stopped outside his garage.
Yeah, so I think while you're talking a lot more, I think the static goes away here, so that's the problem I think I can find with the coverage. So while you're talking, the static goes, but then when you're not talking, the static comes back.
Okay, so if I just talk enough, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Have you got a drink of water? You're gonna have to keep drinking.
Yeah, I've got.
Save that voice.
I've got water. There's I don't know where I've put it now. Okay, no, never mind. It's by my foot. Yeah. So I have water. I'm all settled in for the next 80 minutes of racing and the top 10 shootout. So it should be a pretty good afternoon. I won't be around for session 2, but I should be around for the final 2 sessions tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to seeing this actually.
Yeah, it should be good. This top 10. I'm really looking forward to see the pressure's on for those drivers.
Oh, and Blade Racer on the wall again. Hopefully that won't have invalidated his lap. But
we're just actually being told it's actually the reverse. It looks like there's a lot of static when you're talking.
Oh, okay. Well, this I'm not entirely sure how to rectify that. I think I may be due for a sort of mic update at some point. So hopefully it's not too bad.
Seems alright on my. Sounds alright on my headphones, but it's obviously not coming through well.
So what I might do is I might turn this mic down a little bit then, and hopefully that works a little bit better.
Yeah, it might work. Yeah, do that and see how that goes.
Right. Anyway, well, I hope you can enjoy the commentary nonetheless. And Blade Racer, he's come across the line again. I don't think he's gone quicker, however, he's still on top of the session with 3 minutes to go, so the guys are running out of time to get a lap in. And
well, might want to go on board and bring up the tacho and see what he's doing.
Yeah, let's go on for let's go on board with Blade Racer and see what he's up to. So let's get the speedo open. There we go.
Very low fuel load.
Yeah, so he's obviously doing a qualifying sim at the moment, and he'll definitely be in the top 10 shootout, obviously. So he's navigating the top of the track at the moment with this very fast double left-hander here. He's almost had it completely planted, and he's very close to the wall on exit. He's managed to keep it out now, coming into Skyline. How will he fare? Going down the mountain now. Down into third, and that is looking pretty solid so far. And just navigate. Oh, he's tapped the wall slightly there, but it doesn't seem to cost him too much time. Now coming into Forest Elbow, the car can get very unsettled through here, and he did on it a little bit on exit, but then hit the wall on exit. Sorry, he got unsettled a little bit on entrance, and then crushed the wall on exit. However, it doesn't look like it's costing him too much time, and it looks like this might be a quick one, but will be quicker than a 2 minutes, almost 2 minutes dead, as he navigates the chase, and it looks like he's done that pretty well, coming just into the final couple of corners on the run down towards Murray's corner. On the brakes, down the gears. One more corner to navigate. Don't lace up the tyres on exit. It looks like he's done that pretty well, and it's across the line. Will it be quicker? Yes, it is. It's a 1 minute 59.6 for Blade Racer.
He's sent the gauntlet down now with Shads. Wonder if Shads should be on a hot lap if you can move to Shads and see what
let's have a look. So Shads, he's just navigating the final couple of corners. Will it be better than a 159.6? A very impressive lap from Blade Racer so far, down the gears, into the final corner, and very, very smooth through that last corner, and it'll be across the line. Will it be better? No, it won't. He doesn't improve. It's still a 2 minutes .3 for Shads, and he is almost 7/10 off Blade Racer.
I think he's still on it though.
Yeah, it looks like he's going for another one. 6.2 litres of fuel, so he's definitely got the fuel load. There's only 2 cars on track right now. It's Triple Water Racing, who's currently in third place, which is very impressive for him, and Shad, so it looks like he's gunning for that top spot in practice. Now, he's navigated turn 2 and up into the cutting, down the gears, and this is where the car can get very, very unsettled. Mind you, you can get unsettled pretty much anywhere throughout the track. It's a very challenging lap round here at Bathurst. You can't let off for a second. Session is over. This will be Shad's last lap in the session, and he's in the wall. That'll definitely cost him time. might not be good enough for a 159 now that he's put it in the wall, but it looks like he's still continuing with the lap, and it looks like he's actually gone down through Skyline and coming down the hill faster than Blade Racer did, so maybe he's made up the time. Coming into Forest
yeah, wouldn't put too much to a little side glance. Oh, he just hasn't got the power. He's a bit yeah.
Triple Rotor Racing, though, he's coming into the final corner at the moment. Oh, and he's off the track. Never mind. So, Blade Racer, he's quickest. He's going to be quickest in the practice session. However...
Yeah, we'll see the times that come up.
Is it just me, or is
disco
RSK
dance.
having a moment
Yeah, he's
outside
doing a disco dance.
So now we're moving on to when it really counts. We're moving on to the top 10 shootout, which will begin in a moment's time. So we'll run through the results when the results screen comes up. And it looks like Shads is still... Yeah, he's just coming up.
Yeah, he's just coming in.
So...
Just to interrupt Right Sower's little disco party.
And that's the end of the practice session, so we'll have a look at the results. It's Blade Racer who goes quickest in the practice session, the only man in the 159s, followed by Shads. Triple Rotor Racing rounds off the top three, followed by Lockie, Speed Racer, Highlander, Right Sower, Colonel Lloyd, Emu, and Cringy Criminal rounds off the top 10 in practice. However, it doesn't matter because we're moving on to when it really counts. It's time for the top 10 shootout.
Okay, we'll continue on so that we can go into that. What I might try and do just before we start as well is I might try and lower your mic volume on the Twitch if I can.
Yeah, right.
In the party chat and see if that helps. So what we will be watching, we'll be watching Emu. He'll be on his warm-up lap. But
yep.
the coverage will go off at the moment while I go to Twitch and just try and readjust a few settings, guys, so it'll be off for just a little bit, but we'll be back before the hot lap. There we go. Okay, so Emu's now just doing his warm-up, get those tyres pressures up, won't he?
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah, it's pretty critical to get tyre temp and tyre pressure up. These are very skinny tyres and you have a lot of power going to those rear tyres, and they can be a bit of a handful to drive if you don't get those pressures and temps up. You'll have understeer and oversteer. So crucial that Emu uses his time wisely on the outlap, and we'll see what he'll be able to do on his flyer. Now, question, if they invalidate, is that it?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. So
it's very important for him to concentrate on this hot lap, which we're just coming up to now. He'll be just probably hitting the brakes and get some brake temperature in. And I'll let you talk through the lap there, here. He's just
alright, should we go on board?
Yeah, you can watch him. Watch him here, go on board later, I guess. With some of the faster guys, just see his line.
So, Emu into Murray's corner, he'll be powering out on the start-finish straight, heading towards Hell corner, and he'll cross the line in a moment's time to start his flying lap, and he's hard on the brakes into Hell corner, and coming down the back straight on the run towards Griffin's Bend, which is turn 2 here, and This is one of the fastest parts of the track, and he'll be hard on the brakes coming into Griffin's Bend. He takes quite a wide line through there, which is interesting. However, he's still gotten through the corner. He hasn't run wide, and he's still tracking pretty nicely now, coming up through the cutting. And so far, it's a very clean lap. It doesn't necessarily look fast, but maybe if it looks slower, it is faster. I know that was the rule with the old Top Gear track. Anyway, Emu, he's still relatively clean. Up through the top of the mountain now. Through some of the faster corners.
Very conservative.
Yeah, it's a very conservative lap. I think he's just trying not to invalidate in the hope that somebody else will invalidate. Now into Skyline. Still tracking well down the hill in this number 12 Jed Cagle's racing machine. And he'll be on the run towards Forest Elbow, and we'll see if the car stays level. And yes, it does. It's a very, very clean lap from Emu so far. No mistakes, very conservative. However, it remains to be seen whether this will be actually fast. Now, on the run towards the chase now, if you're going to make a mistake anywhere, it will be here. So it's crucial that Emu gets this right. On the run towards the chase, he should just dip over that white line coming into the corner, and he does. Hard on the brakes. Will he get this slow left-hander correct? And yes, he does. Now, coming up towards Murray's corner now. He's got one more corner to navigate before he can finish his lap. Hard on the brakes. And don't light the rear tyres up on exit. He was a little bit wide, but it doesn't look like it will be invalidated. And what will this be good for? It's across the line for a 2:05.4. Now, moving on.
That's not a bad time.
Yeah, it's all right.
First lap.
Oh, and Cringy Criminals run wide in the final sector, so you may have just invalidated his time already, which is not what he would have wanted at all. We said that you didn't want to do that. And because you've only got one shot at this, if you invalidate on your out lap, that's it. So, Cringy Criminal, he's starting his lap, and will he get the red numbers of death as soon as he starts this lap? Because if he does, that will not be particularly good for him. That will be pretty much back at the grid. And it's definitely not what you want. Well, he's continuing on with the lap, so maybe it hasn't been invalidated. Now, coming towards Griffin's Bend. He's taken a bit of a tighter line than Emu did. And coming up into the cutting, it's still pretty clean. And he had a bit of a lock-up, but...
Yeah, just grab the brake there.
Yeah. Another conservative-looking lap from Cringy Criminal, which is probably less than can be said for some of the top drivers we'll see later in session. Oh, and he's very close to the wall. Very close to the wall for Cringy Criminal. And if he didn't hit it, that'll be pretty good for him actually. Now he's navigated Skyline, so he'll be coming down through the mountain now. And he's not got too many corners to get right now, but there are some of the more difficult ones on the track. Into Forest Elbow, he was very tight. Yeah, he came in hot. Yeah. He was tight on entrance. However, he made the corner. He didn't end up in the wall. And
would have cost him though, down top speed down here, down Conrod.
Yeah.
Got that power on.
Yeah, it's still looking pretty brisk though, and he's coming into the chase now. And he was quite tight on the entrance to the chase again. He didn't take the wide line now into the last couple of corners. He'll be on the run towards Murray's corner. And one more corner left to navigate. He's pretty tight on entrance, and well, he's navigated it. And he'll be coming across the line. Will he go quicker? No, it was invalidated. That's a disaster for Cringy Criminal.
Yeah, so you picked it from running wide into before that lap.
Oh, that's a disaster. Now, Colonel Lloyd, he's about to come around to start his lap. He's a quick driver, so this should be pretty competitive if he can get it done. Now onto the start-finish straight, and he'll be coming across the line to start his lap. And actually, let's go on board. Oh no, so we want the roof cam, don't we? We'll go on board with Colonel Lloyd. And he's navigated Hell Corner. going a little bit wide on exit.
Yeah, I've got a bit of drive.
You see, is it just me or is he short shifting? Sounds like he is
Not
short
too
shifting.
sure.
Strange if he is short shifting. But anyway, coming up through the cutting now. It seems to be pretty clean so far. Now, coming towards the top of the mountain now. And so far he's handling it pretty well.
Done it right out
Oh,
to the
he's in the
wall.
wall. He's brushed the wall on the exit of
That might have been a mirror. Don't need the side, don't need the rear view mirror.
No, you don't. And he's navigating Skyline still, so it doesn't look like the lap was invalidated. He's currently second in the session with only his out lap to his name right now, with a 2:26.6. Now in Forest Elbow, and it looks like he's taking it pretty well. He gets the drive out on the Conrod Straight. Now coming up through the
Have
gears.
a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, so
See
if you want to
how
make...
big his nads are for the end of this straight here.
Yeah, if you want to adjust stuff, you've got to do it on Conrod. Now through the chase now.
Oh, he's late on those
Very
brakes.
fast. Yeah, he had me hard on the brakes there, but it looks like it's not a bad lap from Colonel Lloyd. Now coming into Murray's corner, he's got one more corner to do. What sort of time will this be? Second is the final corner, and it looks like the exit's pretty good. He'll be coming across the line in a second's time, and it's across the line with a 2:04.3, so not bad from Colonel Lloyd. Now here we are with Wright Sower. He's about to start his lap. Number 48 Sport Trekker car. He's taking it very slow coming down Conrod. Really working on getting the brakes and tyres up to temperature.
Yeah, not a bad thing to do. Try and get that tyre temp into the carcass of the tyre. Coming off the brakes.
And he's
we'll just see what
weaving.
sort of time that Wright Sower can do these. In the practice, RSJ and Wright Sower, they managed a 2:01. So, but that's obviously after a few laps. So, doing a one lap, we'll just see what they can manage. So, here they go.
So, Wright Sower coming down the start finish straight now. He's across the line, and it looks. Ooh, did he invalidate? I think he might have invalidated because it came up with a triangle next to his name, which might be a bit concerning. But whatever the case, Wright Sower is continuing with his lap. So, coming down Mountain Straight towards Griffin's Bend. He'll be up at the top end. So, if he's continued with his lap, I'm assuming he hasn't invalidated now into Griffin's Bend. And it's not looking bad from Wright Sower so far. This might be pretty quick if he can get it right. Now, into the cutting. Wide line in, and it looks like he's done it pretty well so far.
Very good exit. Yeah, they don't want to. They want to just drag it roughly to that white line. They don't want to go all the way to the wall.
No. Now, oh, a little bit of a brush on the wall there, but it doesn't seem to affect Wright Sower. Still tracking relatively strong. Up at the top of the mountain into Skyline now, and he's very quick on exit into Skyline. And
oh, he's just raced up the front.
He's really on it. This might be a quick lap if Wright Sower can keep it clean and quick towards the end of the lap. Now, coming into Forest Elbow, how will he fare? Oh, and he's a bit wobbly coming in. Oh, and he's in the wall. That will hurt his time.
Let's see, where is that going to put him?
Yeah, but Wright Sower really pushing right now. I mean, he is
Coming
really,
over
really
the top
on
of
it.
Skyline, he was up on two wheels.
Yeah, and coming through the chase now into the chicane and on now the run towards Murray's corner. He's got one more corner to navigate, and assuming he hasn't invalidated it, it might be pretty good. However, it remains to be seen how putting it in the wall will affect his time. So he's about to come across the line now. It's across the line for a 2:03.2, and he's currently quickest in the section so far. Now, it's the turn of Lockie.
Yes, he's been practicing a lot for this top 10 shootout.
Just you can see him warming up the brakes there. He's getting ready to go. So, how will Lockie fare on his flying lap? He's just coming into Murray's corner now, and he'll get the drive out of the final corner on the run towards the start-finish line. And he started his flying lap. He's put in his out lap, which was a 2:47, so quite a slow out lap, but he was working the tyres and the brakes to try and get him up to temperature. And so far he's navigated the first corner rather well, and he'll be on the run towards Griffin's Bend. Now let's see how he fares in turn 2. And he's pretty quick through Griffin's Bend, actually. That's probably the fastest looking lap
very
we've seen
stable car.
Very stable and very, very quick. And coming up through the cutting, it's not looking bad from Lockie so far. Pretty good exit as well, heading towards the top of the mountain. And so far, so good for the extra motorsport driver. Now, coming up through the top of the mountain, and he'll be coming into Skyline now. Let's see if it will be as flamboyant as Right So's lap was. It's looking a bit cleaner from Lockie, but will that mean quicker? Coming down the mountain on the run towards Forest Elbow, one of the more challenging corners on the circuit. It definitely does look quick, actually. And his exit was pretty perfect there as well. This might be good enough for provisional pole. He's got a 2:03 to beat. Will he be able to do it? That's the question. So, coming down the Conrod Straight at the moment, it's so far been a pretty good looking lap from Lockie so far. Let's see if he can hold it together. He's taken the chase pretty well. It'll be hard on the brakes into the final chicane. And so far, so good. Now he's got one more corner to get right, and it might be good enough for provisional pole. Hard on the brakes into Murray's corner. He's been able to carry the speed through, and he's on the run towards the start-finish line. What will it be for Lockie? It's across the line for a 2:01.3.
So what a lap.
That's incredibly impressive from Lockie.
He's definitely set the time down now for Shads.
Now, Shad's coming almost to a complete stop and doing a controlled burnout out of the final chicane. Let's see if that will gain him any time at the end of his qualifying lap. Now,
so 5 more cars to go.
Now this is the championship winning car, so expect this to go very, very quickly. He's across the start-finish line to start his flying lap. Shads is one of the quickest drivers in the field, so expect a good time out of him. Now, coming down Mountain Straight, it's so far not looking too bad. However, he's only done the first corner. Let's see how he handles Griffin's Bend. And it's looking pretty quick from Shads at the moment. Very stable, very clean. Now, coming up through towards the cutting. A little bit of a lock-up, but so far it's been alright for Shads. And his exit, pretty good as well. Now, coming up to the top of the mountain.
See how much throttle he keeps it open through this part of the circuit. Just a little lift.
If you saw him that close to the wall there, you couldn't have fit a paperclip between Shads' car and the wall. That was incredibly close. Now coming down through Skyline, looking pretty clean.
Very controlled.
Now coming down into Forest Elbow. A little bit unsettled coming in, but it looks like he's controlled it.
The rear there. He's done very
and his
well.
exit wasn't bad. He was close to the wall and he was on the power, which is pretty much just what you want there. And coming down the Conrod Straight on the run towards the chase. Let's see how he fares. He dips a wheel over the white line and it's looking pretty good from Shad so far. Hard on the brakes into the final chicane, and it's the lockup. But he kept it on the road. It will have cost him though, but we'll just have to see what sort of time this is good for. Coming in to Murray's corner. It's the last corner he's got to navigate, and it's looking alright from Shad so far. What will it be? Will it be quicker than Lockie? It's across the line for a 2 minute point 7.
Oh my god. What a time.
However, I think Shad's will be kicking himself because that lockup would have cost him time. I reckon that could have been a 1:59 if he hadn't done that.
Yes, that's the times are definitely getting hot now.
Yeah, now
Speed
it's time
racer,
to see.
so he's him and another he's the fourth car remaining, so there's another 3 after him. We got plenty of time, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, so Speed Racer just coming up the Conrod straight at the moment. He doesn't seem to be doing what we've seen with Shad's doing control burnouts and Lockie testing the brakes through the chase. He seems to just be going for it already, so let's see how Speed Racer will fare. Coming into Murray's corner to start his lap. And he's just about to cross the start-finish line, and he's on his flying lap now. So into turn 1, hard on the brakes, and so far so good for Speed Racer. He's using a lot of the curb, and it seems to have worked well for him. Looking pretty brisk. Coming up Mountain Straight. Let's see how he does through Griffin's Bend. Hard on the brakes. He turns in, and it's pretty clean, pretty stable from Speed Racer, using some of the curb. That's the widest we've seen anyone go so far. And let's see if that'll be quicker. Now up through the cutting. Not too shabby from Speed Racer at the moment. And coming to the top of the mountain. And so let's see how he fares in the double right-hander, and it's still very, very clean. So it's just looking superbly clean from Speed Racer at the moment, but will it be good enough
Maybe a bit
to
conservative, but could be second. Do you think second? That's my bet.
Maybe.
Will be a low 201.
Well,
Did he touch the wall, or was that just
No, he
sticking up
didn't.
a bit of dust?
no, he didn't. He managed to escape. But the thing is, though, it might look conservative, but remember, Shad's locked up going into the final chicane, so if Speed Racer can keep it quick, it might actually be better than Shad's time. However, that remains to be seen. He's got a couple more corners to navigate, and I think this could be provisional pole if he can keep it together. Now, coming through the chase, he'll be hard on the brakes into the chicane. Not a puff of smoke in sight, and he handles it pretty well. Coming towards the final corner. And let's see how he fares. He's just navigated the final corner, and he's about to come across the line. What will it be for Speed Racer? It's good enough for second. You were right, Woody Lizard.
Oh, there was a
Two-
208 though. 8.82 was it?
Well, he's 200ths of a second off the pace of Shad's, which is immensely impressive. And now it is the turn of the Illuminati Kermit car of Triple Motor Racing, and he's just started his lap here. I mean, he's definitely been in the mix this season, so let's see what he can do in this qualifying session. He's got a 2 minute point 7 to beat, and currently we've had 6 laps so far, and 205.4 is currently the 6th place time from Emu. So we'll just have to see how Triple Rotor Racing factors into all of this. I reckon it might be a pretty good time. It's not the quickest looking lap, but it's pretty clean. As long as you can keep it out of the wall, it might be pretty good. Now, coming up, he's at the top of the mountain at the moment, and he'll be coming into Skyline. Let's see how he fares. Oh, and he's using a lot of the grass there. That might be invalidated, actually, for Triple Rotor.
I don't think that they've got track limits up there. I'm not 100%. Oh, actually they do. I think they're up around Skyline though, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see how strict those track limits are. But we did see some grass being kicked up, and there was some wheels over the left side of the curb. So if it's not been invalidated, let's see how it factors into Triple Rotor Racing's final time. Just coming through the chase now, he's got a couple more corners to navigate. Will he lock up? No, he doesn't. It's still clean from Triple Rotor Racing. One more corner to navigate. It's Murray's corner. And this will decide Triple Rotor Racing's fate. Into the final corner, hard on the brakes, he carries the speed through. Doesn't really use any of the curb, and he's on the run towards the start-finish line. What will it be for Triple Rotor Racing? It's good enough for third. It's a 201.002 for Triple Rotor Racing. And now, it's the turn of the number 3 Mondelene car, which is the car that he's sharing with Shad. So this will definitely be a car to watch on this qualifying lap.
We've actually got plenty of time reserved for the drivers here, so we've gone through very quickly.
Yeah.
Something for future reference when we look at our times, we can probably reduce it down to around about that 25-minute, 30-minute mark.
Well, we can always do a
good
race.
time by Triple.
We can always do a race preview podcast between now and the end of the qualifying session. But
oh, definitely. It's going to be
so
a bit frustrating for the drivers, but have to sit around. But anyway, that's just how it'll be.
Yeah, and here we are. Highlander is about to start his lap in the Mondelene machine, and coming across the start-finish line right now to start his lap. It's a 2-minute 20 for his out lap, and he's on his proper lap at the moment now. So coming down Mountain Straight. I'm not sure if he'll have had any setup help from Sado throughout the week, and if so, this might be a pretty competitive car. So coming into turn 2, and it looks like it's very stable and very clean from Highlander. And coming up through the cutting, there's a little bit of a lock-up, but he's kept it relatively clean. And just coming to the top of the mountain now. It's a bit wide.
Back off it a little bit.
Yeah, it was a bit wider than we'd seen previously from some of these other guys. And he's at the top of the mountain now, so we'll just have to see how that factors into his final lap time. Coming down through into Skyline. And he was looking pretty quick coming down through there, so he might be able to make up for that. It's very close to the top right now. The top 4 are separated by only half a second, and Triple Rotor Racing is he's quite hot coming into Forest Elbow. He's got it under control. Sorry, Highlander was quite hot coming into Forest Elbow, but he's got it under control, and now he's coming down Conrod Straight, and he'll be navigating the challenging chase. In a moment's time, just dips his wheels over the white line and coming towards the final chicane now. Will he lock up? There's a tiny bit of a lock up, there's a little bit of a puff of smoke, but it doesn't look like it will cost Highlander too much time. And coming into the final corner now. Let's see how he fares. He carries a lot of speed into the corner and carries quite a bit of speed on exit as well. What will this be for Highlander? He's across the line. And it's good enough for 6th. It's a 2 minutes 3.4. And that's the end of the qualifying lap.
No, we've got one more. We've got Blade Racer.
Oh, so we do.
Out. So he was the fastest man in the Thursday practice session.
And the fastest man in this practice session as well.
Yeah, so we'll see what he can do here. It's going to be a very entertaining lap, I'd say. He's either going to put it on the pole or bin it. That's my prediction.
Win it or bin it, as they say.
We could see a 159, I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we haven't seen any 159s in this session so far, but if anyone can do it, it might be Blade Racer in this number 7 car.
Yeah, I think it's all about getting the heat in the tyres and the tyre pressures as well. So most of the guys get those 159s after doing 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, so coming
So hold on everyone, here we go.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts because we are about to go on the roof cam with Blade Racer. Let's get the speedo on and see what he can do around here at Mount Panorama. Using a lot of curve in the final corner to start his lap, and it's already looking pretty quick from Blade Racer. And coming into turn 1, taking it in second gear, and using a lot of curve on exit for Blade Racer. So he is definitely pushing already. And coming down Mountain Straight, I mean, we don't really get to see any signs of true pace at the moment. But let's see how he handles turn 2. He's very, very late on the brakes coming into Griffin Bend, and he's quite wide on exit, but it seems to be pretty quick still from Blade Racer. Up through the cutting, pretty close to the wall, and he was quite wide on entry there, but he's still kept it clean, and he still seems to be going pretty quick. Now, oh, and a bit of a slide there coming up towards the top of the mountain. Now, the double left-hander, how close will he be to the wall? Quite close indeed, actually. And it's a pretty busy lap for Blade Racer now coming into the Skyline. How will he handle it? He's very quick into the Skyline. That's probably the quickest we've seen anyone take it so far.
Had to correct himself a little bit.
He was coming in there at 118 miles an hour, which is incredibly quick. Now into Forest Elbow. He's in second gear, and it looks like he's done it pretty well, and he's got the run coming out on towards Conrod Straight. Now we'll go track side again and see what Blade Racer is able to do. We're in the final section of the track now, and so far it's looked pretty quick. This could be good enough for pole. And over the white line, and coming through the final chicane now, it was looking pretty clean from Blade Racer. A lot of curve on exit. He seems to be doing a lot of that, but will that better his time into the final corner? And using some of the curve again onto the start-finish straight. What will it be for Blade Racer? Will it be pole? It's across the line, and it's pole for Blade Racer with a 2:06.
Good lap, well done. That's very good.
Hold on, we have one more lap.
No, that's it.
Is it?
Because we
okay.
had both...
oh, Vanished and Validated, didn't he?
Yeah, and Cringy Criminal can't do a lap, so these guys now just have to wait for 14 minutes. So that's a... we'll just run through that order. You might be able to bring up the order.
Yes, I can do that. So, Blade Racer, he topped the session with a 2:06. Very, very good lap for Blade. And then it was Shads in second place with a 2:07. And it probably could have been a 1:59 for him had it not been for his little lockup coming into the chicane. It's Speed Racer who will line up in third place with Triple Rotor Racing and the Illuminati Kermit Car for Company. And behind them, it's Locky Fives and Right Sower in P5 and 6. It's Highlander in P7, and he's got Colonel Lloyd alongside him with Emu in ninth place. LOFT Vanish was unable to set a lap time as he invalidated in the final sector on his outlap, so no time for him, and Cringy Criminal rounds off the field as he was unable to make the top 10 shootout.
It's funny that he's actually got a time down. Got 2 laps he did. It must be because she would have been in the pits.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a bit strange. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's swapped Vanish's time around. So maybe that was Vanish's time, and then the timing screen's had a bit of a glitch, and something's gone awry.
Yeah, could be. That's a great lap by Blade. So that's a good start to the 1000 for him.
Yeah, definitely. And as a driver who's not
even... We don't have the Armour All award, but what can we call? What can we give him? We don't have the Armour All Pole award. What can we do?
We can give him the ANZCRL Pole award, I suppose. I mean, that's the equivalent. Unless you want to come up with some other creative name for it. In fact, actually, if you're watching the broadcast, comment your creative name for the Pole award down in the comments below, actually.
What we're going to do is just going to I've just been asked if Cringy Criminal can actually go around and do a lap, because just a slow lap to put himself in 10th. So I'm just going to reply to say yes, he can. So that way it'll actually put him in 10th. So he will go out and do a lap. May as well do something.
Yeah. So we should probably run through some predictions. So with Blade Racer as a Super 2 driver, as somebody we haven't even seen in the main Supercar series, he's looking pretty quick. So do we think that Blade Racer could win this race?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. It's he's got a great teammate as well in Jeddo. He's only just come onto the scene, but he's very a stable driver. Like, he'll just keep it nice and straight, and his idea in that session 3, I believe, is just to stay on that lean lap. So it's really up to Blade Racer to what he can do in these first 2 sessions. But you know, we haven't seen him in the competition. Last year he was in the Pro Division in the V8 Supercars, and he had a few issues where battling with some of the faster guys, so that's why he was actually demoted to the Super 2s this year. But as he showed, he's definitely got the pace when he's out on his own. So if he's improved his racecraft, you know, Shads and what have we got? Speed Racer right next to him, triple rotor. It's going to be he's going to be looking in the mirrors. It's going to be tough for that first 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah. But seeing how quick that car is, I mean, I know he was, you know, struggling to find a teammate coming into the 1000, and there was the conversation that was being had that I could have been driving that car. And honestly, I am glad I'm not driving that car, because I really do not want to. I wouldn't have been the one who wanted to screw it up for Blade Racer. So, Jeddo, good luck if you're watching. Good luck in that car. You could be a Bathurst 1000 winner tomorrow afternoon, so but don't bin it. I mean,
yeah, well, we were speaking to him last night. That's what he was worried about, and I just said, look, you know, he's improved throughout the Super 2 series since joining, and he's just got to try and keep it off the walls and just run his own race in that session, and hopefully it all turns out good for him.
Yeah, and also we should look at, well, I think obviously Shads and Uncrewed Squid, they could definitely be contenders, and it should be really exciting up front. Uncrewed Squid has been pretty much untouchable all season, but now with somebody like Blade Racer, we don't know how he's going to factor in, and what, you know, his interactions on track is going to be like with Uncrewed Squid and Shads, and we should be in for an absolute cracker of a race, and it might even be as good if not better than the real Bathurst 1000 that happened this year, which was an absolute cracker of a race.
Yeah, I'd like to really see how the number 9 Lumensi Racing is going to go, which you call the Kermit Frog, I think, car.
Yeah,
but,
I call it. Yeah, I call it the Illuminati Kermit car. Yeah.
Yeah, because both Triple and Dado, they are very, very solid here at Bathurst. So, and just anyone watching here at the moment, this is just the end of the top 10 shootout. Cringy Criminal just making sure that he gets a 10th spot grid position because he validated his lap. Loft finish was actually not in the top 10 shootout. He didn't qualify on the Thursday. He has been 11th fastest.
Yeah, so as we mentioned with the number 9 Illuminati Kermit car of Triple and Dado, I mean, it's a car that has been in the mix a lot throughout the season, and it's been known for its incredible strategy moves. So what we might see from Triple Rotor Race, so there is a mandatory pit stop in this session, yes?
Oh, well, they're not going to be able to. There's no mandatory pit stop, but they're not going to make the distance anyway, 40 laps without pitting for fuel.
Yeah, so what we've seen this season is Triple Rotor Racing actually utilizing the overcut to great effect, and it actually worked on Speed Racer 3 times, and he was actually able to get some podiums out of that, or some top 5s or whatever it was. And so the strategy on that car has been really, really strong, and if he can use it, he might be able to find his way at least onto the podium or even into a winning position. And also it's a car that's found itself in a lot of on-track action this year, so we'll probably be watching it throughout the race and seeing what the battling's going to be like with that. So definitely one to look out for.
One thing that I think that you're looking for as well is the mid-pack battle. I think the race is going to be very interesting. You've got the number 12 Jed K Gloves team in Emu and Night Pegasus. You'll also have the number 13 Satnal Motor Racing, Loft Finish and Derpy Dan. 38 Sakium Auto Racing with Lloydie and Fish. And then in that battle too would be my teammate as well, with Lockie in the number 29 Exeter Racing car, Lockie and myself. So there's a lot on there, and just on the tail end of the top leaders, I reckon you're looking at Speed Racer and Dark Racing. So Dark Racing doing sessions 2 and 3. So he'll be really trying to keep that car nice and straight for Speed Racer in the final session, and hopefully find himself still on the lead lap to fight for the podium.
Yeah, so Speed Racer's endurance racing has been really, really impressive this year. I was lucky enough to be his teammate this season in the Intercontinental GT Challenge, and he managed to put that car on the podium almost every single time, and he also won the GTE category at the 24 Hours of Le Mans by himself, might I add, in that car. So he did all 6 hours of driving, and pretty much all of the 1,000+ miles that we did in that race. So I mean, if he's good with his endurance racing, and this is an endurance race, so expect to see Speed Racer definitely right in the mix, and he might even win the thing.
Yeah, and the other one's in a good shot for a top 3, I reckon, is the number 48 Spodrecker Exhaust Systems in Wrightsoe and RSJ 37. So we haven't seen Wrightsoe during the series. He hasn't been able to make it. But RSJ 37, he's been consistent mid-runner, I believe, in the Supercar top lobby.
Yeah, he was definitely in the mix with the midfield. So we saw a lot of on-track action with Triple Rotor Racing and or whoever else was driving the Lumensi car, because that car just seems to find itself into on-track action somehow. Whether it was Chuck Racing, who we said goodbye to this week, and Dado driving. I think Dado drove the car as well, probably as a one-off, But yeah, I mean, it finds itself in on-track action, and definitely the Sport Drecker car, it found itself in that sort of on-track action as well. So definitely something to look out for.
Yeah, definitely. So looking for that red and white car.
So I'm not sure if anyone this season has been watching my coverage of the series, what you could see of it anyway, or any of the other. Well, there are a few YouTubers in this series, so you'll have seen Chuck Racing around a few times if you've seen some of that. He's sort of leaving the series this week. He's decided to try his hand at iRacing, and he was an incredibly successful driver. It's a shame he couldn't come and do the Bathurst 1000, but he was definitely quite prominent. Well, I remember he raced at Algarve. I'm not sure he raced again, but he was very impressive at Algarve, managed to get himself on the podium, and we'll miss Chuck Racing, won't we?
Yeah, definitely, but that's what we are. We're a little bit of a breeding ground for a lot of sim racers. They venture in on the Xbox as the entry level, and they get that little bug, and then they start spending the cash on their PCs and moving on. But we'll always be here for the Xbox and keep it going, and we enjoy what we do. And just looking towards the start of the race too, we've actually got the session 1 is going to be 10 AM in game time, and the date is obviously the 13th to the 10th, just so we get all that out of the way. And each session is separated by 2 hours, so session 2 starts at 12 PM and runs to 2, and session 3 is 2 PM to 4, and then we've got 4 to 6 for the final session. And the final 2 sessions will be run tomorrow afternoon, I believe from 2 PM, I think it is.
Yeah,
I'll
2 PM.
confirm that.
Yeah, it's 2 PM.
So this one, after this, we will have a quick turnaround actually to try and set things up and get the drivers changed over, ready for session 2. It was meant to start about 10 past 5 or so, the lobby open, with a race starting around about 5:30, just after. So we might be about 10 minutes or so late because of the problem starting tonight, the session this afternoon.
Yeah, and of course, we'll be handing over our microphones for session 2 to, is it Lockie
and also Shads.
Lockie and
And
Shad, yeah.
I'll be driving, so yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing how Lockie goes in this first session, and hopefully we can be in a bit of a fighting chance and see what happens. My aim is just to keep it on the lead lap myself. I'm not the fastest, but just going to try and keep running consistent laps and stay in front of these blade races and shads that are going to be chasing my tail.
Yeah,
near the end of 40 laps, I'd say.
And then we'll have for session 3, the mics will be handed back to me, and I'll be in the booth with Night Pegasus for session 3, and then it will be Woody and I again in the final session tomorrow. Well, unless anything happens, because I think I'm going to be attempting to qualify for a hire kart competition tomorrow, so I'm heading out to a go-kart track, and I'm not sure depending on traffic and other factors as well. Hopefully I'll be back in time for session 3. Definitely will be around for session 4 though.
Very good. We might have to try and see if you can get a new mic at the same time, mate.
Yeah, I'll try and if I'm gonna commentate, well, at some point again, I'll probably get myself a new mic. I was thinking about buying one recently, and then the guy said, "Oh, it doesn't do game sounds, it only does the party," and I said, "Oh, okay, well, I'll keep looking then, I guess."
Yeah.
I think
so. We've just been told by some of the people that have been watching the coverage as to when we were asking about the pole award, that we can't have the Armour Oil pole award. We're going to call it Kiss the Sky pole award. There you go.
Kiss the Sky pole award. Where does that come from?
I don't know, but anyway, Kiss is playing the final event at Newcastle in the V8 Supercars, so maybe something to do with Kiss. I'm not too sure, but just Kiss the Sky.
And they'll
Kiss
also
the
be
Sky
on
goodbye.
And then Kiss will also be on the side of the Erebus cars for the Gold Coast 600 as well.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
And we're done. Qualifying session is over, so that means we can get into the race. Should we run through the grid one more time?
Yeah, go for it. Well, make sure that guys are sitting back in their sim rig and getting ready, because we're going to start. So go through it so everyone can have a look.
So, Blade Racer has taken the Kiss the Sky pole award and lines up on the pole position, and he's got Shads in the Evil Knievel car for company. Speed Racer lines up on the second row of the grid alongside the Illuminati Kermit car of Triple Rotor Racing. Lockie 5 lines it up 5th, surprisingly, followed by Right So in the Sport Drecker car. Highlander in the Mondeline car, sharing it with Sado, lines up in 7th place, followed by Colonel Lloyd in 8th position. Emu lines up in the Jed K Gloves machine in 9th place, and Cringy Criminal rounds off the final guys who have set times, and Vanish rounds off the field in 11th place after failing to make the top 10 shootout. And that will be your starting grid for the 2019 edition of the ANZCRL Combined Bathurst 1000.
And here we are on the grid here for a 10 AM start in game. We've got a medium cloud cover, and it's all synced to, it's not synced to race, it's actually real time, so about an hour each changeover. We're looking at medium cloud to heavy cloud, so the track conditions will change a little bit.
Yeah, so the drivers will just be sitting in the loading screen, and they'll be finalising their setups, pit strategies and the like ahead of the 40-lap first session. Blade Racer will lead the field away, and it should be an absolute cracker. I can't wait. And hopefully these guys can get...
First few corners and up over the top is going to be very interesting for the first time. History does say that there's usually some sort of little incident. We don't have any safety cars in our event. So it's a matter of, if you've been too damaged, you just got to try and make it back to the pits and get repaired and get back into it. As we said, no one will be any worse than 8 laps down between the sessions, or in total.
Yeah,
It'll keep the battle going.
So these loading screens are usually about 2 minutes. However, I reckon that these guys will get their setups organised just before that. And then as soon as they do, the lights will be coming on and we'll be getting ready to go racing for 1,000 kilometers here at Mount Panorama. The lights are about to come on. We're syncing up, getting ready for the Bathurst 1000 for 2019. Let's do it to it here on the mountain, and we're away, and it looks like Rightso has gotten a pretty bad start. Blade Racer and Shads are side by side at a turn 1, and it looks like Shads will sweep around the outside and go up into first position. They're too wide, pretty much all the way throughout the field, and Speed Racer and Triple Rotor Racing have each other for company, and Speed Racer forces Triple Rotor Racing off the road, and it looks like Lockie might get into the mix of this as well.
Oh, great start, great clean start by the top 5 cars, other than that little brush coming up Mountain Straight between Speed Racer and who was it again? Sorry, Triple Rotor, sorry.
Triple Rotor Racing,
that's
yeah.
putting back down into, what's that thing, 5th.
Meanwhile, Lockie is piling the pressure on Speed Racer at the moment, and he's having a look on the outside at the moment, but there won't be enough room coming through the top of the mountain. And so far, so good. Nobody's gotten any damage, and nobody's ended up in the wall just yet. At least I don't think so anyway. So, the field is all pretty condensed at the moment, and well, has there been any major change of position at the moment? Well, first of all, we've had...
Well, it would have been Triple Rotor.
Yeah, Triple Rotor Racing, he's already lost 2 positions off the start, and we have a new leader of the race, it's Shaz, who took the lead in turn 1. What's going on throughout the rest of the field?
Shads.
Oh, and... Highlander looking to the inside of Rightso, and they'll be side...
Very racy.
Yeah, he's racy already. However, I think it's a bit too early on to be making moves like that. I would assume that Highlander just wants to hand it over to Tato so he can do the rest of the race. So a damage, crashing into somebody definitely won't help his case. And Highlander, he's all over the back of Rightso coming through the chase, and he looks to the outside, but the room isn't going to be there. But can he switch back? Not this time around. And look at how everyone is still extremely close together. It's all pretty tight here at the front right now. However, Highlanders...
Applaud all the guys for that first lap. It's been a very good lap. Oh, it looks like Lloydie's having a little look.
Lloyd goes to the inside of Highlander. Will he make it through cleanly in turn 1? Highlander has to go wide in turn 1, and they'll be side by side coming down towards Griffin's Bend. Can Colonel Lloyd drive by on the straight? Looks like he can. Highlander moves back into position. Great
move. He set him up there coming down along pit straight.
Oh, and there's a car spun! Coming up the hill, it's Lockie in the extra car. And I just realised that it is extra, not extra. Rather embarrassing,
yes,
but
not the chewing gum.
No. Lockie has looped it on lap 2, and, well, it wouldn't have been very good if somebody ran into the side of him. But it looks like everybody's escaped, everyone's gotten through relatively cleanly. And let's see what's happening up the front right now. So meanwhile, Shads is pulling away in the 43 car at the moment. The gap's already 1.7 seconds, so that is just the start that Shads would have wanted. Speed Racer, he's up into 2nd place. He's actually gotten by Blade Racer. But Blade Racer surely won't be letting Speed Racer get away too easily.
Yeah, I think Blade Racer will just be trying to settle himself down and get into his rhythm, because as we know, he's a one lap shootout specialist. But it's all about now probably just following in the tail of Speed Racer, and it's not going to do him any harm.
Yeah, and of course
we've obviously. Yeah, go on. You're right.
It doesn't really matter if you fall too far behind, because it's basically a safety car restart for each session, so as long as Speed Racer can hold 2nd place, he can just sort of stay there, really. And it doesn't really matter, because as long as he can be with him at the start of the next session, he'll be alright. Meanwhile, Triple Rotor Racing...
Definitely. I was just going to say something there about if you're a betting man, you can always get on TAB and bet there's going to be 4 safety cars throughout the event. Actually 3. We'll say 3 safety cars.
Yeah. So, Triple Rudder Racing, he's starting to chase up the Blade Racer here, and we might see a pass for position in the not-too-distant future. However, meanwhile, Colonel Lloyd and Highlander, they might be going at it in the next couple of laps. The gap is under a second between these two, and Highlander looks a little bit loose coming through Griffin's Bend, but he's kept it on the straight and narrow, and yeah, he has lost a little bit of time. But that's where he's heating up, and Cringy Criminal, he's already on pit road.
Yeah, he looks like he's had some front end damage there.
However, the lollipop is up, but it looks like he's being held to repair damage. And so far,
Oh, look at that gap that Shads has got now, a 2-second gap.
Yeah,
Lap
it's basically the perfect start for Shads at the moment. And he's pulled out the 2-second gap. That's exactly what he wanted to do. And Blade Racer loops it! Oh, and he hits hard back. He's backed it into the wall at Forest Elbow, and that will be a lot of damage. And it looks like he's actually kind of stuck. And it looks like he'll be losing position after position. The back end of that car is caved in entirely, and that is not what Blade Racer wanted to do. The man who started on pole is already 7th by lap 3 and will probably be making a trip to pit road.
Yeah, that's going to cost him a lot of time down straight. We should be able to see Emu just take him very easy down here. The top speed will be suffering with that damage.
That is not what Blade Racer wanted, and he's all the way down in 8th position now, and we'll have to see if he comes to pit road. I mean, he backed extremely hard into the wall there, and that's very, very costly.
Staying out.
He's staying out, yeah. Meanwhile,
Lloyd on
Colonel
right
Lloyd,
side.
Colonel Lloyd is right on the back of right so at the moment. I think this is where it's at the moment. This battle pack here, ranging down through into the upper echelons of the midfield. Right, so is up into 4th position, and you'll have Colonel Lloyd for company. He's in the slipstream. Will Colonel Lloyd make a move into Griffin's Bend, or will he play it safe for the time being? It looks like he's playing the safe option right now. However, he does have quite a bit of a run coming up the hill into the cutting. Definitely something to look out for. Oh, and Highlander back in the mix as well.
Yeah, and I was just going to say also, Speed Racers put that gap down to just under 2 seconds between him and Shads at first. Something just to keep an eye on. We don't have to look at it, but just keep look at those times.
Yeah, because this is the battle here that we are really interested right now. It's the battle pack here in the midfield that's currently being spearheaded by Rightso in the Sport Drekker car, and he has got Colonel Lloyd for company. And
what happened to Highlander?
Highlander's dropped off. Highlander. Oh, he's gone into the wall.
Looks like he's hit the wall.
That's not what he wanted to do. So the battle is cut down to 2 drivers at the moment. It's Colonel Lloyd and Rightso are going at it for 4th and 5th. Highlander's still in... Oh, no, it's Colonel Lloyd is... sorry, Highlander's still in 6th. My apologies. Didn't lose any positions, but he's definitely damaged that car. So Colonel Lloyd in the slipstream of Rightso. It's going to be... It looked like it was going to be side by side with the chase there.
Yeah, I think Lloyd just let him know he's there. I don't think he was going to make that move. He's just showing Rightso that the intention could be there later in the race. And just letting him know he's there.
And you can definitely see Colonel Lloyd is...
1.5 seconds for the lead.
Colonel Lloyd is definitely later on the brakes than Rightso is, and he might use that to great effect. And Highlander's come to pit road, so the damage is obviously too much for him, and he's just coming onto pit road. Not the start he would have wanted. He just had to hand over to Sado, and he's all the way down to 9th, making his pit stop a bit too early. I don't even think he'll make the tyre and fuel mileage.
But the thing too as well, when you've got a front impact, you can really cause some engine damage with overheating as well. So the difference between his and Blade Racer, Blade went into the back, so he probably wouldn't be suffering from any overheating issues, Blade, whereas Highlander might have seen the temperatures rising, and once they start rising, you're lucky to get another lap in, so without blowing the engine. So he's probably taking the safe option and come in for a pit stop so he can get that repair done.
Yeah, because once the temperatures start rising, the engine basically becomes a ticking time bomb. It doesn't even really matter how hard you drive it, it just keeps going up and up and up, and it will eventually go boom. And, well, it looks like Colonel Lloyd is pretty much going blow for blow with Wrightsower right now coming down the mountain, and he's right with him. Not sure where he's intending to make a move, or if he's just going to stick wanting to sit behind him at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a safe option, isn't it, really? Just to let the laps roll through. We're on, what, lap 5 of 40, going to be turning on to lap 6, and maybe he's not losing too much time. They're going to be they're on that pace to stay in the lead lap, so why fight too much for positions unless Lloyd thinks he can get that position and then start getting up towards triple rotor.
Meanwhile, developing story, Emu versus Blade Racer for 6th and 7th. Blade Racer stayed out despite a very damaged car, and now Emu is having to defend from it. You can't even see Blade Racer in the rear wing of Emu's Jet K-Gloves machine, and he's trying to start lap 6 for them. And Blade Racer, despite the damage, is looking pretty racy behind these guys. It's all over the back of Emu coming to the chase. And Emu locked up going into turn 1, so that means Blade Racer will have the run coming down the straight and sitting in the slipstream. And we'll be looking.
It's actually not bad. I feel Blade will probably just be wanting to actually hold station there, because he'll be helping that damaged car with the toe up the mountain straight. On his own, it'll be interesting to see what sort of pace he could be doing.
Yeah, we'll watch the lap times for Blade Racer, and Blade Racer looked to the outside of Emu there, but the gap just simply wasn't there. And he's looking pretty racy behind him, so this will definitely be a battle we need to sort of look out for. Coming to the top of the mountain.
What Blade Racer's got to understand too at this stage as well, as long as they can keep going at this pace, and then he'll be able to leapfrog him during the pit stop. He actually won't leapfrog him during the pits because the damage will actually hold him up a bit, so he's going to have to be careful of that. But once he gets that damage replaced and fixed up, he should be a lot faster, and should have the pace to be able to stay on the lead lap. That's basically what the sessions 1, 2 and 3 is going to really be about. The discussions is about just trying to stay on that lead lap, or staying that lap down if you're in some battles of other people being a lap down. So yeah, that's going to be the main talking point.
However, it looks like Emu is looking for some opportunities on Emu at the moment, and meanwhile, I should also mention Colonel Lloyd has dropped off the pace significantly, and he's coming to pit road, so something tells me he had an incident and he's dropped off the back of Wrightsower. So now this is the battle between Emu for 5th and 6th.
So again, another front end damage, so again, could be just protecting that engine. And in the background you can just see Lockie. Lockie's, I think, got a pretty clean car. When he did that spin out of Griffin's, I think he kept it off the wall. I don't think he's got any marks on the car, so he might still have a fully intact car.
Yeah, and that might come into play certainly later on in the race. Yeah,
he's doing 204s. That last lap was a 204, I think it was 203. Lockie did.
I can show timings for you. So Lockie, and Blade Racer in the wall just in the background. Actually, we just saw that. So Lockie, his last lap was a 203.9, which was actually his fastest lap of the race, and he's actually going much quicker than Blade Racer at the moment. Blade's last lap was a 2.6, so definitely quicker than him right now. And Blade Racer, because of that contact, he's just dropped off the back of Emu, and he's in the wall again.
Yeah, those side glances don't hurt too much. That's when you go in more of an angle where you can get some suspension damage.
Yeah, so...
But this could be a three-way battle soon with Lockie catching. Only 5 seconds off these guys.
And he's much quicker than them as well.
Maybe we need to go to the lead to see Speed Racer. He's right on Shads.
I'm not sure where to look at the moment, because Blade Racer's about to get by...
They've got a battle for the lead of the race though.
Oh yeah, true. Actually, yeah. So, Speed Racer, he's closed a 2-second gap. So I'm not sure if Shads has made some mistakes, but he's definitely caught up to it.
He's protecting
and
that inside line.
Quite racy. He sees a gap. He looks like he wants to go for it, but the room just isn't there. So he's going to hold station for a little while longer. And he's chasing up the hill right now. So will he make a move into the cutting? This is the battle for the lead at the moment. Ooh, Shad's looking up. That won't help his case.
Yeah, doing too much of that will start getting the tyres to start having that little vibration in your steering wheel, and also losing that front end grip. You don't want to be locking up too much.
I also want to say Blade Racer looks like he's made another mistake because he's dropped us around 4 seconds behind Emu, so he might have found the wall again. It's not been the greatest start for Blade Racer.
Yeah, he's just got to try and compose himself again. As I said, as we all have been saying, it's a long race. Only leading lap 8 of the 40.
Yeah. But so far, this is where the battle is. It's first and second between Speed Racer and Shads. And I don't think Shads has actually won this year. So to win at the Bathurst 1000 would not be a bad thing for Shads. Unless he won at Zolder, which I don't actually know.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, no, Shads will really be looking forward to. They've put a lot of effort into this as probably their final hurrah actually on the Xbox before a lot of these guys go to iRacing next year. So they'll be wanting to finish on a high note, and this is probably one of our biggest events we run in the year, the Bathurst 1000, as well as the Le Mans 24 hours and the Indy 500, and we also like to do the Daytona 24 hours, which usually kicks our season off every year in February.
Yeah, and also I want to say, so since some of these guys are going to iRacing and it might be their final hurrah, we do have a lot of promising drivers that have just entered the series, and they're getting better and better all the time, and more people are seeing this on the streams on YouTube or whatever it might be, and it is gaining international attention. I have a Danish friend actually who said to me, I'll just pretend to be Australian so I can come and race in ANZCRL. So it's gaining international attention, and there are some promising young talents coming up, well promising talents, new talents coming up through the series anyway, so definitely something to look out for, even though it is probably the final hurrah for some of these guys. Shads was in the wall a second ago, he just brushed it, but
yeah, he just brushed it, yeah.
It doesn't
yeah, we're with a new Xbox as well as I think these are coming out next year or the following year schedule. We just don't know what the power of these consoles are going to do, and you never know. Game developers might be able to push the boundaries a little bit more, and we might be able to enjoy a little bit more freedom with our sim racing as well.
Yeah, so it's the console generations are like every 7 years, so we are due a new Xbox, but I'm not sure what they'll do. I know the PS5 is on the way to replace the PlayStation 4, but I think the Xbox, it might just be evolving the old console, but that really remains to be seen actually.
I've just been watching the times here, and Triple Road is slowly catching these guys as well. His last lap was a 2:02, whereas these guys are doing 2:03, so something to keep an eye on. Triple's roughly matching the same as Shads, or doing a little bit faster each lap.
Yeah, he's got
and
some
then the other
clean air
battle that we've also got, if you want to go back to the mid battle between Emu and Blade Racer, and Lockie, looks like.
Lockie's getting into this as well, yeah. And Blade Racer looks like he might have just found a little bit of a gap on Emu, and will he try and make a lunge? Coming into the final corner, he's right all over the back bumper of Emu as Lockie comes into the mix as well. And is Blade Racer's run off the corner better than Emu's? He's swerving left and right to try and find a gap, but it just doesn't seem to be one. Emu's defending really rather well at the moment. Oh, and Blade Racer a bit wide.
He's his racecraft has improved really out of this world in the Super 2s. He struggled at the start, just getting to grips with the cars, and looks like Lockie's taken Blade Racer with outright speed.
Yeah, Blade Racer's run off turn 1 wasn't that great, and he lost time, and Lockie managed to drag by him. Lockie up to 6th place. However, Blade, he's still looking quite racy as he up to the wall. He's still going pretty quick.
Bordering the wall. But Lockie doesn't want to get held up here with Emu. He looks like he'll want to try and clear him if he can, going down Conrod or sometime soon, just to clear himself, because he's right in the middle of danger here with these cars.
Meanwhile, gap up front, it's about 4/10, so we'll just keep an eye on that and cut back to it if it gets any closer. Oh, and Lockie's on the grass
just making a bit of a mistake.
You don't want to do that.
Gonna help him hand with Blade Racer.
Blade Racer, the only reason he's not passed yet is because there isn't room, so I definitely think Blade Racer, he's going to try and move. Blade Racer on the outside of Forest Elbow, there wasn't a room, but the whole station
Blade Racer's suffering from his outright speed because of the damage on the rear of his car, the wing there. His top speed will be probably about 5 or 10 kilometres slower than these guys.
Yeah, and then also I think Blade Racer, he'll be frustrated, so he's just trying to clear these guys, and he's going to try and take risks, but it's not really paying off. He's found the wall a few times, and it's not helping his case at all. But Blade Racer, he might be in a position to make a move on Lockie if he sends it down the inside, but he's deemed it too early on in the race to do so. Oh, and
Lockie's got to run.
Lockie's got to run. Will he make a move into turn 1? He's side by side with Emu. Is the room there? Lockie thinks so. They're side by side. They almost come together. Oh, Emu off the road.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not sure if there was contact, but
no, there's no contact there. But they're both quite in position. No one wanted to let that position go. They didn't touch, so that was a nice little pass by Lockie. Probably wasn't the cleanest, but. Emu could have just lifted off maybe just a touch.
Meanwhile, Blade Racer looking racy once again on Lockie. Lockie just trying to hold P5 from Blade Racer at the moment.
Yeah, Lockie will just be wanting to get to Conrod so he can just sort of gap Blade Racer a little bit. I reckon you'll see him gap him, but Blade Racer's so quick around the top of the mountain. He just, with a damaged car and all, he's just got the right lines.
Yeah, so if he can come back in the next session with a less damaged car, he could try and maybe make his way back up to the field.
Lockie's just all over. He was lucky to not hit that tyre bundle there.
Oh, and Blade Racer cutting it fine on the apex of the corner and actually brushing the wall slightly. Blade Racer deemed the gap
trying to do a Van Gisbergen.
But it wasn't. And he holds station again. And
beautiful.
Now Lockie's...
Yeah,
he's pulling a gap a bit. Let's have a look up front.
His exit was compromised, Blade Racers.
Shads and Speed Racer are basically going blow for blow at the moment. Let's have a look at the time so far. So, Speed Racer and Shads doing pretty similar laps at the moment. Very similar best laps and relatively similar laps on the last lap. And they're going blow for blow up front. However, none of them are letting up at the moment.
And great drive by Triple Rotor at the moment.
Yeah, he's up in the third place to fourth. And he's got an enormous gap to right stops.
He's got saying that he's got a good pit strategy that he normally does, Triple Rotor, in the league, in the series.
What he'll do is he'll make the tyres last longer, and actually if we're looking at Speed Racer, he's used this strategy on him like 3 times, and what he does is he goes longer on the tyres and then just conserves, well, he has fresher tyres towards the end, and then when Speed Racer's exhausted the rubber, he starts to catch up and will eventually pass him. So that's the strategy that Triple Rotor has used on many occasions, and he might get to use it again.
Bathurst is one of those questions, isn't it? Something to see. At the moment, he's doing a great job there in third. I'm sure his teammate Dado will be biting at the bit to get into that car later on this afternoon.
Yeah, and Triple Rotor, he's actually within, talking about the strategy again, he's actually pretty much close enough to the leading two to make that strategy work. So, because we've seen gaps of like, we've seen 10-second leads fall to nothing, and eventually those drivers have been passed by Triple Rotor Racing because he's made this strategy work so many times. So, it will just be interesting to see if he can make this work again, and I can't wait to see how this plays out. But it looks like the lead battle has sort of died down a bit here, and the battle is most certainly on in P5 and 6 at the moment.
About his Blade Race is not really getting affected too much with his top speed, is he? He's getting that toe. Oh, he's got good drive. He's had to lift off because Lockie had the car parked in the right position then.
Yeah, and Emu's sort of fallen off the back of this little pack at the moment, so this is the battle we have now. And Blade Racer, he pulls to the inside of Lockie, and it looks like he'll drag by him going into turn 1. He covers the line, and Blade Racer back up into 5th position. And if he gets this first corner right, it looks like he'll get to keep it. Blade Racer to 5th.
Yeah, I think that might have been a strategic move there by Lockie because he was getting a lot of pressure at the, with Blade Racer behind him. So he might feel better being the chaser more than the what do you call it, bloke out in front.
Yeah.
Bloke running away.
Yeah, you don't want to, I mean,
the leader.
You don't want to just exhaust the tyres, so if he thought he was using rubber defending against Blade Racer, he may as well move them to the side, which is what he's done, and it's probably, you know, a smart move not to put up much of a fight. He said before the race, we were on a party and he said, I'm not going to, you know, go for overtakes, I'm not going to defend too hard, I just want to get through the first session, keep it clean, and finish where I finish, essentially. That's what he said, and that's what he's doing. So a man of his word. Also,
yeah, he's just dropped one position from what he started. He started in 5th in 6th at the moment, but that's still not a bad result. After he had that spin, he's come back into that mid-battle.
Yeah, a lot of these guys have found the wall, so that's not really helping them. Battle up front. Shad looks like he's just starting to pull away a bit. The gap's about a second now, so we'll just monitor those gaps and
Right Sail's in a very handy position at the moment in 4th. He's sort of got a good 10-second lead in front of Blade Racer, so he can just concentrate on his own race. So that's a beautiful thing in that position that he's in at the moment. He's a bit too far to try and chase down Triple, and he can just concentrate, just doing those numbers that he's after. What's he doing? He's doing 205s, which is pretty handy.
Oh, sorry. I'm having... I need the technical difficulties.
Right.
Music. Ride Soa is doing... Well, his last lap was a 205, and his best lap was a 204.7, which apparently...
So fairly consistent.
Which apparently, I was talking to Lockie again, he said that was actually the pace of the front runners in last year's running of the race, so lots of improvements have been made throughout the field,
lots of
and
yeah, a lot of the guys, because we've run a couple of series now, we've really understood the cars, how to set them up, so obviously that's helped with the lap times and just consistent lap times, you know, like look at, the leaders are still doing 202s, you know, and that was the best lap time you could even manage a few years back, but they're just constantly doing 202s in the race trim cars with full fuel and everything, so just shows you how much of a setup can help the cars, and also just that experience in driving them too. They are a unique car to drive, the V8 Supercars. A lot of horsepower, narrow tyres.
Yeah, the V8's churn out about 650 brake horsepower, so it's a lot to have to deal with, and they're very, very tricky to drive. I mean, I know a lot of these guys, they actually raced in ASR back in the day, and so Aussie Sim Racing, and we did the Supercars League there, and I have to say that was a year ago, and well, almost nearly 2 years ago actually, and to see the improvement from those drivers back then to what they are now, it's absolutely unbelievable to see, and we're seeing it now here in this race in ANZCRL 2 years later. So pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's just good to see everyone progressing through their sim career, and just really taking a love of the hobby that we all enjoy.
Yeah, so the actions are died down a little bit on track at the moment. Shads are starting to pull away from Speed Racer, and Speed Racer.
I can tell you now that they're probably not relaxing. I reckon they're going pretty hard, because look at Triple, he's bridged that gap down to keeping it under that 4 seconds off the lead. So he's slowly getting on the back of Speed Racer.
Yeah, so we'll probably just have to watch this man and just see how it plays out. But right now the gap.
I might want to go on board, just see how he's going, fuel load, what sort of pace he's doing, the speed down here.
Yep. Hold on.
Yeah, so look at that. He's still watching. He's going to get 290s.
100. He was
still
maxing
got
out
good
180 miles an hour. Oh, I'm on miles an hour. I forgot.
Yeah. Come on, we're Australian. We don't know miles, mate. So yeah, about 291 kilometres he keep coming into the chase there. So that shows he's got no damage in the car. He might have maybe 1 or 2 engine damage, maybe. And what's the fuel? My eyes aren't really there. Is it 80 litres
he's
or
got
50 litres?
Yeah, 50 litres of fuel right now. Yeah, so
50 litres. Yeah. So he's just over half a tank. What, the 112 litres is a full tank of fuel. So most of the guys would have started on 112, and then when they come to the pit stop, they only top up probably around 60 litres of fuel will get them to the end. 60 to 65 litres.
I just want
to. Blade Racer's doing 280 down there, so that's the difference. It's about 10 kilometres slower from the leaders, and that's probably to do more with the damage with the rear wing.
Yeah. Oh, and I was just pointing out the gap between Blade Racer and Lockie was getting smaller, but Lockie is coming onto pit road. He's called it, and he's the first to blink.
Yeah, he'll be up. If he fill up the tanks up to 112 full tank, we'll just go to his telemetry and just see if he gets up to 112. I reckon he'll be able to get to the end.
Yeah, so
we touch and go.
We're on lap 15 of 40, so we're approaching halfway. So expect to see some of these guys coming into the pit lane at the moment, and expect to see Triple Rotor Racing go further than most of these guys. So it looks like he's
112. Will get him to the end.
So, yep, that's 112. He's brimmed the tank, and it looks like he's got some damage to repair. So it's not what he would have wanted. He's being held for quite a long time.
Yeah. Could have a little bit of engine damage as well.
We didn't see Lockie hit the wall, so that's strange that we're seeing that. But he's being held for quite a long time, so we'll just and there he is. He's released. Yeah, so 111.8 litres of fuel, so he should have fuel to go to the end.
And he's just fallen a lap down, but as we know, all the leading guys were still going to have to pit as well, so he might gain that lap back once they come into pit. Still a long way to go, anything can happen.
Yeah, lap 17 of 40 at the moment, and well, so far it's been relatively exciting, but the gaps have opened up at the moment, so people are just settling into that endurance racing phase of.
Yeah, I wish we could actually have the actual replay of the start, because I thought that start of the race, the first lap, was outstanding by all the drivers. So yeah, I would like. Ooh, Triple Rotor has just touched that wall, and if he can hear me, I think his microphone has given up the ghost, so I can't hear anything. But we're still going here with Shads, the lead of the race. And it looks like Emu's coming in for a pit stop. some of these guys are coming in early because they've made the distance to be able to get to the end with full fuel tanks, so that's something to remember. So if they've got any little bit of damage, it's probably a good time to actually pit and fill up. So it'll be interesting to see if Blade Race takes the opportunity to pit soon as well, so he can get that top speed back again. This wouldn't be a bad option. He's been bridging the gap on Right Sower ever so slightly. He's now 10 seconds behind. I did say before Right Sower had a bit more than 10 seconds gap on the guy behind him. So Blade's doing he's knuckled back down, really concentrating on his racing. And we can just see Shad's now coming on for his 18th lap. And to have so far the top three, pretty much the leading three of the championship as well, all together. It just shows you that the difference between the actual Supercar Pro lobby and the Super 2 lobby, which is Blade Racer, who's really the man that's leading the first of the Super 2 cars in 5th. Both Shads and Unscrewed Squid are in the Supercar lobby, and also Speed Racer and Dark Racing 40. And also Triple Rotor and Dado, because Dado Racer actually won the championship, I think it was, or came second in the championship last year in the Super 2. And yeah, definitely someone saying they need a beer after those first few laps. That was it was a very exciting start to the race, very clean. Yeah, and a lot of battles. They sort of separated. They had the first four, and then the next mid battle, and then probably another last three cars in their own battle. But it was a very good start, and we've been pretty intense as a driver as well in those first few corners. And the biggest moment actually was between, I think it was Speed Racer and Triple Rotor, when they both sort of came side by side going up Mountain Straight, and Triple found the grass and managed to hold on, which was probably a very lucky thing for Triple, and he's now fighting for second. And here's Shads. Shads is coming in for his pit stop, so he's been the first one to blink, leading three. And now it's up to Speed Racer to put in a couple of quick laps if he can. It's going to be hard with these hard worn tyres. And 37, so when I say hard worn, they're soft. They all run soft tyres. We don't run the hard tyres in these V8 Supercars. And yeah, Pegasus is obviously, he's the one that needs those beers, but it's getting on close to, what, 4:15 here, so it's just after midday for Pegasus, so I'm sure he's earned a beer or two, so being over in WA, so enjoy a couple, mate. Not too many, because you're going to be buying a wheel very shortly. So taking on a good position there that Emu's has put there. Maybe end up being roughly a lap down, we don't know. But I think there's going to be a big battle for the cars a lap down, which is going to be a lot of the mid-pack. So it's going to be very interesting. So here comes Shaz. He's completed his lap, his pit stop on lap 18, and then onto his 19th lap now. And here comes Cringy Criminal. This is his second pit stop. He had to pit stop very early for some damage, which was unfortunate. But as long as he keeps motoring around, he'll hopefully, they can steady the ship in the next few sessions. You'll see that maybe a few of the other cars come back to him. So by the fourth session, they'll probably have a good battle on their hands. Yeah, good little shot of whiskey always calms the nerves. I think I'm going to need one before I start the session 2. Looking forward to the dry, but the wet that's meant to come in around that 40 odd minutes or so into the race. It's going to make things a bit interesting. So how long are you going to stay out on slicks before you come in for the wets? when you make that initial first pit stop. Only pit once. So a few questions to be asked. The Speed Racer has taken the lead of the motor race because of courtesy of Shads, who's pitted, who's come out just behind Right Sower in 4th position. And he's got a fast triple rotor chasing down on Speed Racer Triples. His car seems to be coming to him as his fuel's dropping too, so he's looking very good for the final part of the session as well. Oh, just taking a little bit of curb, looks like there by Speed Racer. Had to correct himself coming through the dipper. And we've got Right, so maybe thinking about when he's going to have the pit stop as well. No, I don't know if Highlander's, I don't know if he's pitted. I don't think he's pitted. So he pitted early, but I don't think he's got enough to get to the end. So he'll probably find he has to pit again, but just for a splash and dash. It's going to be very tight for the cars to stay on the lead lap, some of these mid cars. We're pretty much halfway through the session now. And in comes Speed Racer. He's taking that opportunity to hand that over to Triple Rotor and take the lead of this motor race. Triple will be enjoying this little period to be able to have the lead of the race. On cue, the cameraman changes, which is great. So we've still got Gear 3 Gaming about, but his audio has been cut out, so not too sure where we go from there, but we'll continue on. That's why we got 2 of us. And hopefully he might be able to come back before the end of the race, give him some exciting, insightful voice of Gear 3 Gaming. And now what can Triple do? That's what Gear was saying to everyone that's been watching during the series. If you've been able to watch any of Gear 3's coverage, which has been, as we understand, a little bit poor because of his internet connection. He's had some issues at the last few months, but hopefully he's going to come back bigger and stronger in the next few, maybe in the new year with a good internet. But we had a lot with Triple Rotor being able to leapfrog Speed Racer with his overcut or undercut in the pit stop. So what Gear was saying, he'd stay out longer, use up those tyres, and then have those nice fresh tyres and be able to really fight for position when Speed Racer's holding on for dear life with their tyres wearing out at the end of the session. So can he be doing it? Will it work at Bathurst? We don't know. And obviously that's one of his things he wants to do. And we've just got Lockie in the background. He's a lap down, but as you can see, he was just on the back of Triple, so not too far to get back onto the lead lap. So he'll find himself back on at least holding the lead lap when the guys have pitted, because we know Lockie's got enough fuel to the end. And Blade Racer's still staying out. He hasn't come in for that damage repair. So he's given up about 10 kilometres down the straight each lap, up and down, up Mountain Straight and down Conrod to the leaders. I think that he probably should have taken the opportunity to pit earlier and just fill those tanks up to get to the end, but he's obviously sticking to his original strategy. And Triple's in to take his pit stop, so we'll see if Right Sower takes that time to pit as well, if he's going to take the lead of the motor race. And just seeing that, I've just noticed, without having my friend Gear with me, that Speed Racer is actually taking the effective lead of the race over Shads. So that's very interesting. I don't know if that happened during the pit stops, if he's leapfrogged during the pit stop or actually on track. But that's a big moment of the motor race in this first session. So effectively the leader looks like it's going to be Speed Racer. It depends where Triple comes out So Triple's come out. He looks like he's cleared them quite easily. So maybe, well, yeah, so Triple was actually done a terrific job. He's come out. He's now the effective leader once Right Sail pits. So that's a sensational job. Exactly what Gear 3 Gaming was alluding to at the start of the coverage. The Triple has just got these pit strategies down in pat. He just knows when to pit. Puts in those quick laps. Sensational stuff. The number 9 Lumensi racing team. Get your boots on, Dado. And definitely look at this. Shads is 4 seconds behind Speed Race by the looks of that. And we've still got to wait for Right Sail to take a pit stop, as is Blade Racer. And there's a big question mark over Highlander if he can make the distance, as he pitted very early. I think it was lap 5 or lap 6. Got some front end damage, as did Lloyd too. So Lloyd's another one that had to succumb to pitting early. And it looks like Triples with those fresh tyres is just going to round up Right Sail fairly easy to take the lead of the motor race again, or we might just follow suit, thinking that Right Sail will take that pit lane entry this time around. Might be the safe option to do if he doesn't take that pit lane, try and get him coming into down into Murray's. Don't want to be on the outside there if he wants to come in. Good move by Triple. That's good racecraft, good brains on Triple. That's where people can come unstuck. He knew that Right Sail was going to have a pit. Now we've got a whole reshuffle of the lead. It's actually reversed itself. So Triple was third, and Speed Race was second, so he's still second, and Shads was first before the pit stops, and he's now in third. So Shads is the biggest loser, and Triple the winner of all that. Still 17 laps remaining. Still fair distance to go. Over half an hour's of racing. And we're looking around about 45 minutes still left. Which is roughly a race stint in our sprint rounds that we've all finished. We had six rounds, 2 rounds each. 2 races each round. Had a shorter sprint round, which was around about 20 minutes or 25 minutes, and then the longer 45, 50 odd minute race. So they're in that zone now of a normal feature race distance. And reset. Blade's definitely trying to be interested to see how much fuel he's got. I'd say he'd be looking at running it right to the empty. So that means probably pitting in the next couple of laps. And this is definitely going to whet your appetite for session 2. Shaping up to be a very interesting session. We've sort of seen the pace now of these 3 runners with Highlander, just trying to stay with them. And he's still got the opportunity. Highlander, Blade Racer, Lockie, and even Right Sail, who's had his pit to still stay on the same lap. Emu. And they're going to need to keep their constant 205s if they're going to stay on that lead lap though. So these guys have roughly 203s, 202 material. And he's constantly running on full tanks at the moment, 203s. Blade Racer's still doing 203s, and that's on an empty tank, I'd say, that last lap around. So he's actually, all that saying that he should have pitted early is probably is working to his favour, because unless he has pitted, but with that low fuel tank, he's actually still faster over the top of the mountain, and he's not losing any time to the leaders. So staying out is probably the right decision for Blade. sensational effort by Blade Racer actually in the number 7. He has late changes, late gear change into second there, Triple. A lot of the time people changing into the second gear just on the curb running on the left there, running into the dipper over Skylight. And he seems to be changing second just after that and just on the entry into the dipper. He did then. Whatever suits. Okay, what I might just do, I just got to send a party invite to Gear 3 Gaming so we can come back in. So we might just leave coverage just for a second while I do that. So just bear with us while I go over to my Xbox screen and send him in an invite. Hold on for a sec. Okay, so we're back now, so hopefully we'll get gear. Oh, there's that buzz.
There we go.
We've got the man. We've got it. Welcome back.
Hello. And what did I say? I said Triple Rotor's strategy would play out, and it has. And he's in second. He's actually in the lead of the race now after the pit stop cycle, so it's worked out perfectly for him, and he's got a 3-second gap. I think
sensational effort.
Shads was probably one of the big losers throughout the pit stops. He's cycled back through into third, so he's lost out to both Triple Rotor and Speed Racer. I think Lockie had quite a long stop. Yeah, he was the first to pit. Lockie had a long stop. Blade Racer's done well to be back up at the 5th.
But he hasn't pitted, has he? Has Blade Racer pitted? We don't know, because even the graph doesn't show if he's pitted or not, even when you show up the timings.
He has. Blade came into pit, so as you can see, the rear wing's not bent anymore. They've fixed up that, and now he's battling with Highlander for position, and it's very dicey here at the top of the mountain. Highlander having to defend quite aggressively from Blade Racer behind. Won't be an easy task because Blade Racer has a newly repaired car and is looking very racy behind Highlander.
Yeah, and we've seen Blade Racer how quick he is around the top, so he's probably best just to hold, not cause any incident here, and just try and get him down, Conrad.
Yeah, and he definitely now has the pace to do so, because as we saw, he was sticking it right with these guys, even with a destroyed rear wing and a pretty destroyed car, and now he's got a fully repaired one, so let's see what he can do. Coming out onto the Conrad straight in the slipstream of Highlander in the Montblanc car, and let's see if he can...
Cars are so even, it's so hard though with the drag, so sometimes it's a bit too hard to try and get a spot through here because of the kink, but coming definitely into Murray's is definitely a passing move.
Yeah, he's right with him. Oh, he's gone in the back of Highlander. That could have ended in tears for both of them, but they've kept on the road. And the battle's still on for 4th.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think you would have seen any damage come in to that too, because they're only at a slight touch. So they can get a little bit of a front end taps and not get too much damage in the aero. But he's having a look. He's having a look down here into Hell Corner.
Goes into Hell's Corner, Highlander lifts off, gives him the space, Blade Racer up into 4th, and it looks like he'll get Steve for the time being. And yeah, so Blade Racer, it's good that he's back in the mix of this race. I mean, he had an abhorrent start to the race. He fell down all the way to pretty much the back of the field after backing it into the wall at Forest Elbow, and now he's back up into 4th place, which is pretty much a ticket into the next session, so effectively he's only lost 2 places and no time, so that's fine, really.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're saying. Is got the words there. It's about getting a ticket to the next session, isn't it? Really, these first 3 sessions. It's all about trying to get that ticket to that final 4th session on that fighting position.
See, if this was one of the other ANZCRL endurance races and we had time compression, this would be a bit of a nightmare for everyone down from Blade Racer at the moment. But since it's pretty much in most parts similar to a NASCAR stage race, and we're having proper restarts, people can get back in the mix. Meanwhile, Colonel Lloyd, he's on pit road.
Yeah, he had to, because he pitted very early, so this will be a scheduled.
And is that just me, or did a man just moonwalk down pit road?
Well, it could be the ghost of Michael Jackson, mate. Who knows? But we've definitely got a battle with Highlander to see if he can actually make the distance too. I don't know if he can actually go to Highlander and just pull up his taco.
He's got 19 litres of fuel, so he'll actually...
Yeah, he's going to have to do a splash. Yeah, he's going to have to get some more fuel. So he's going to be fighting to stay on the same lap.
Yeah, well, if it's a quick stop, it might not be a matter of being on the lead lap, but...
it's got roughly a minute, and the transition of pit lane can be roughly around that 30 seconds with a bit of fuel, maybe 35 seconds or so.
Yeah, so he'll lose out to...
it's only going to give him about 30 seconds before he pulls a lap down.
He'll lose out to Lockie, but the question is whether or not he'll lose out to Wrightsower, because Wrightsower is about 37 seconds back from these guys. So I mean, we just need to see how that plays out.
So Wrightsower's got a bit of a battle to try and stay on this lead lap as well, as does Emu. They've definitely got the opportunity to try and get a lap back if next session as well. If they can, when they take off, being a lap down, as soon as the lead car takes them on the mountain straight, they're able to then start their race from pit lane there, and they're fast enough to try and get their lap back and then hold their lap for the whole session. They'll actually keep that lap, but it's a tough ask, but anything can happen. Stranger things have happened on the mount.
I think Highlander has actually made a mistake at some point, because he's 7 seconds behind Blade Racer at the moment. Now, I know Blade Racer's quick, but I don't think he's 7 seconds, pretty much a lap quicker than Highlander. So I think Highlander might have made a bit of a mistake. He's down to 5th, and Lockie is within a second of Highlander at the moment, so this will probably be the battle we keep our eyes on at the moment.
Yeah, and Lockie was the one that he let Blade Racer through after he actually took Blade Racer when they were having a battle with Emu, and he forced Emu wide there into Hell Corner, which then Emu's sort of been backtracking ever since then. And then Lockie had that lead in front of Blade Racer, but then the pressure that Blade Racer was put in on Lockie, decided to give that pace back.
So
he run his own race.
Can I just ask, did you disconnect after I dropped out of the party?
No, I've been going. I believe the coverage is still going, so nothing's happened.
See, I got a phone call, and because I'm on a hotspot, the game didn't really like that, so it threw me out of the party, yeah, that's what happened there. So I do apologise. That's just the fact of the matter. But now I'm back and looking at the battle
for
between...
5th?
Yeah. And Highlander's definitely
Lockie's
dropped off the pace.
I thought Lockie was going to take a run up around the outside then.
Yeah, and Lockie just brushed the wall as well, so that probably won't be helping the case. But he's still right with Highlander at the moment as they come up onto the mountain.
Yeah, Lockie knows that he's in that vulnerable position, that he just needs to keep going, though they're well and truly safe to not fall a lap down, but we know Highlander's going to have a splash and dash, which is going to make it very touch and go if he falls a lap down or not. But, Lockie's had a mistake. Just in saying that.
Doesn't seem to be any marks on the car.
No, but he might have just had a bit of a moment and he's had to back right off. He might have ran wide over us. right up. He might have ran wide over McPhillamy and found the sand there.
Yeah, he might have just done.
Coming into Skyline.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Speed Racer, I think he's just holding station around second place, about 3 seconds off Triple Rudder Racing, who I have to say has done absolutely amazing. Triple Rudder has to get up into first place with only about 11 laps left in the session. Meanwhile,
and we're looking at also, I'll just have a look at Cringy Criminal. He's still only a lap down from the leaders. He's almost going to be 2 laps down soon. So he's been doing a, there he goes, he's 2 laps down now. But yeah, he's been doing a great job.
I'm trying to work out, so yeah, he's about a minute off Colonel Lloyd, but I mean, he's just circulating around, so who's his teammate actually?
Lost, I mean, is it not
Vanished.
Criminal and Nuclear Chocolate, I think it is.
Yeah, so, I don't know, maybe if some guys run into trouble later on in the race, you can definitely make some positions, as there's the splash and dash we were talking about. Highlander's on pit road, and he's stopping for fuel, and
yeah,
that's
we might just keep an eye. So he's coming out now, so we'll just see where he comes out in relation to Triple. He's Triple now coming onto the straight, so it's going to be very tough. I think Triple will get him.
Yeah, he's going to get him.
Yeah, so he's going to fall a lap down.
So Highlander, who's he going to be with on exit? That's the question. I think he might be, and he's lost that position to right, so I reckon Highlander should have come in a few laps ago, and he would have actually jumped him, but he still lost the position to right. So yeah.
So right, so is the next man in line to be falling a lap down. So there's still a good, strong battle at the moment for the guys that are going to be a lap down for the session 2. There's still a good battle, and Sato's very fast too. So when I said that if the guys can come out and put pressure on the leaders and pass them fairly to gain their lap back, that's game on. So the leader's going to know that there's going to be some fast guys that are a lap down that'll be trying to get their lap back after the safety car to restart sessions 2. So yeah, that'll be very interesting to see. So we know Sato how fast he is, and is there going to be strategy involved here? You know, like are they going to run less fuel, like run 60 litres to start the guys that are lap down?
Maybe fuel stop later on.
Tanks more. Yeah, we should make them stop longer in the pit lane, but they might be able to gain that track position.
Yeah, they might just be able to, and you also have to factor in, you don't know what's going to happen up front. I mean, we saw Blade Racer, like we thought he was going to just use his blinding pace just to get away from the field, but then again he made mistakes and found himself further down in the field. So if people up front make mistakes, and I know pretty much all of the guys up front, I mean, they're not mistake-free drivers, they do make mistakes occasionally. I mean, if stuff like that happens, I mean, the number 3 can definitely be back into the mix later on in the race, and it's still, I think even if you go down a lap at this stage, if you have quick drivers, you're not out of contention for the win. I reckon this car can still win despite being a lap down.
Yeah, it's both the people that were in a bit of strife early on, Blade Racer and Lockie, are in 4th and 5th, so they're looking good to stay on the lead lap. The right sail was the one that's in danger of falling a lap down in 6th position at the moment. He's probably got around about 20-second lead in front of Triple, with 10 laps to go. So
yeah, so Triple Rudder Racing, he's pretty much just started lap 31 of 40, and so we're just pretty much in the twilight of stage 1, if you will. And and he's brushed the wall there.
A little glance for Triple. So there you go, as you said, they're mistake prone. They can make mistakes.
Yeah, so
they can make mistakes, these guys.
I mean, pretty much everyone who's taking over from these cars into session 2, they have all made mistakes at some point in the season, and this is such a challenging track, so I wouldn't rule out mistakes as a factor that comes into play in the strategy and, you know, what the final results of the race will be. But just because you're going a lap down in session 1 doesn't mean you won't be on the top step at the end of the race, as I said. And that might be or may not be proven by the 3 Mondelez car. Who's close on track right now? I think everyone's sort of spread out at this
not
point.
Much. They're all pretty much spread out. This is probably pretty much for this lead, triple and speed, just to make sure that they're run mistake free.
There we go. Triple rotor racing. I'm not sure about you, but he has a lot of damage on my screen. Or is he clean?
Yeah, he's got a little bit of damage, side damage, nothing at the front. He's just got a little bit where he's brushed the wall on the side.
Yeah, see, I think I'm
right
picking
inside.
up... When my internet had a lapse, I think he may have picked up some damage on my end. But anyway, yeah...
He's very nice and clean for me, other than a little bit on the side.
Yeah, so...
Which hopefully is coming through the coverage, that he hasn't got damage. So, that's, yeah, what I'm seeing is it looks all good.
Yeah.
But I'm very impressed by how Blade Racer has composed himself again. You know, it's very easy, you know, when you backed it into the wall there at Forest Elbow, it's very easy to get frustrated when you know you've got a fast car, and he really composed himself and dealt with the car, damaged car, and kept fighting, and finds himself in 4th. Going to find himself still on the lead lap as long as he doesn't make a mistake for the last 8 laps. And the same as Lockie. Lockie's had the same situation. So, yeah, they've done really well, those 2 guys.
Yeah, because...
But you can't take anything away from Triple for that outstanding pit stop strategy. And also Dee for calling it at the start of the race.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a tried and tested method for triple rotor racing. And as you were saying about Blade Racer, I mean, usually one mistake leads to another, and you get frustrated, and you just end up at the wall over and over and over again. I found that a lot at the 24 Hours Le Mans when I was driving my car. Like, I'd make some ground and I'd spin out, and then it was just going downhill from there. But Blade Racer's done really well to recover this drive, and he's up in 4th place and might even be back in the mix. Well, he will be back in the mix for the next session if he can start 4th and on the lead lap.
We just got now right so there, he's confirmed there, he's a lap down now. He's just letting the guys through. And you saw Triple Rotor gave him the appreciation by flashing his headlights, which would have came down on the brake lights there, with just to say thank you to Rightso for letting him through. Nice and easy.
Yeah, I mean, no point holding up the leaders and damaging the car and making them angry, I suppose. They might not be so kind in the future.
You could imagine if there was only 1 or 2 laps to go, Rightso might have fought for that position to try and stay on the lead lap, and you could understand that, but with still another 7 laps remaining, it's really a foregone conclusion that he was going to fall a lap down. So yeah, he was very, very good at Rightso.
Yeah, interestingly enough, like, we're going to have a few guys a lap down, so I think the race will almost split into 2 halves when we go into session 2. There'll be the guys battling who are a lap down, and then there's the guys who will be still battling for the lead up front. Interestingly, the gap's closed to 1 point, well, just under 2 seconds at the moment, so around 1.7 actually between Triple Rotor Racing and Speed Racer. I think Triple's made a couple of mistakes over the last couple of laps, so that's giving Speed Racer some time to catch up. And we might see this play out at the end of the race, so maybe Triple Rotor Racing's strategy might not have worked long run. It might have worked in the short term, but maybe you can't make it work for the end. Maybe Speed Racer will catch up and conserve his tyres and get by.
Yeah. Could be, Speed will probably, what Speed's got as fuel load as well.
We'll actually just have a look at that.
36 litres there.
So 54 for Speed Racer and 36, yeah, for Triple Rotor. So he has a lot less fuel than he does. I think Speed Racer might have just overfueled it, or Triple Rotor's underfueled it. Speed Racer has a massive slide coming out of the final corner there.
But sometimes too, you might find that around that 60 to 50 litres of fuel in the tank, the car's sometimes a little bit more settled than less fuel too. So Speed might be benefiting from a car that's just the weight distribution of the car is just perfect at the moment for him. Just giving him a good, fast handling car.
Let's have a look at some lap times actually. So Speed Racer's last lap was a 2.6, and Triple's last lap was a 3.3. Well, actually a 3.4. So Speed Racer's actually going quicker than Triple right at the moment, and the gap is closing. So Speed Racer's gained a 10th on Triple in the last lap. The gap is around nearly 1.6 seconds, and Speed Racer's just slowly closing that gap, and we might see a battle play out for the end of the session. It's lap 34 of lap 40 in session 1, so not a lot of time left, but you never know. Might see something on the end. And Triple, he was looking a bit wide through some of these corners coming down the hill, so that might be costing a bit of time.
Oh,
and
Blade's coming in for a pit.
Blade Race is coming into on the pit road.
So maybe he didn't have enough fuel to make it to the end. No, he's got damage. He's got 31 litres, so this is costly.
We were just saying how well Blade Racer was doing to recover this car, and if he's put it in the wall again, he might fall a lap down here. Like, I mean, where are the leaders in relation to him? So Triple Rotor, he's about to lap him.
The final corner, yeah, he needs to get out now. If he gets out now, he's got the pace to stay on the lead lap. Just have a look to see if he's moving. He'd have to be out of his pit bay.
No, he's still sitting there.
He's going to fall a lap down.
And he might even lose out to Rightsoer as well, because Rightsoer is just coming around, and he actually could lose this position to Rightsoer. So there's actually going to be a lot of quick cars a lap down at the start of session 1, and it's going to be tight. Blade Race is just out of the pit lane as Rightsoer comes into turn 1, and well, Rightsoer will have hotter tyres and will be carrying a bit more speed, so this might be a battle that plays out at the end of the session. But it looks like Blade Racer will just get out in 5th place at the moment. Good position, but he's lost a lap, and that's not what he would have wanted to do. Which means Lockie's up in 4th place, and that's a very good first session for him.
Yeah, and the last car that's on the lead lap.
So if Lockie can start 4th, if he can just hold on to this at the end of the session, he could start almost on. He could be fighting for the podium at the start of session 2, which is absolutely superb. Oh yeah, you'll be in that car, won't you?
I'll be in that car for sessions 2 and 3, so there's a little bit of pressure on me, but I'm here ready to take it on.
Well, good luck to you in the next couple of. So you're doing sessions 2 and 3, or?
And 3, yeah. Give it back to Lockie for the final. So then I get to get the broadcast done for the final one.
Oh yeah.
But Lockie's definitely the fastest of the two of us, so that's why we wanted him in the final session for sure.
So do you think you'll be able to battle for the podium positions on the restart?
Oh no. No, I'll be holding just to try and stay on the same lap. That's all I can do. I don't have the pace that these guys have. I can't even do a 203. So 205s, 204s, probably my pace that I've been doing. So yeah, I'll just hopefully be able to manage constantly doing around the 206, 204 bracket, and hope for the best. Ooh. Just put that power around coming out of the cutting.
He's still level though.
Wall, I think.
I'll get off Lockie because I know he doesn't like the broadcaster's blunder, as it usually happens. But I think he'll just get to the end of the session if he doesn't make any mistakes. He'll just get to the end of the session on the lead lap, which is exactly what you would have wanted. It's exactly what he would have wanted as well, and I'd say that's a pretty good session. First session for you guys if it finishes as it is. I think you've made up, what, 4 places? Didn't Lockie start?
No,
Where did Lockie start?
I started 5th.
So Lockie
So he's made
fifth.
one spot. Yeah.
I mean, it's progress. That's
good for Team Exeter. Yeah, we'll be excited about that.
Meanwhile, I think Speed Racer's made a mistake at some point because he's now 4 seconds adrift of Triple Rotor. So that's
so it's now time for the guys to really think about just bringing it home, knowing that there's definitely going to be a safety car at lap 40. So for the changeover of the sessions and the changeover of the drivers, I don't know if any. I don't think any drivers are doing. Oh, the only drivers that are doing double stint is Blade Racer actually.
Oh yeah.
In this one, so Blade Racer will be racing again later on this afternoon.
And early into the evening as well. And he's about to be lapped by Shads, but I think he's still a bit too far back. And meanwhile, Speed Racer is continuing to fall off the back of Triple Rotor Racing. So that'll be great if Triple Rotor Racing can finish in first place after starting 4th. That is a lot of progress. I mean, we knew this car was quick. Oh, and Triple Rotor! Just as we say that, that is the commentator's curse in a nutshell. He makes a mistake on the last corner, and Speed Racer goes back into the lead of the race. What happened there?
Oh.
Did he spin or?
He's clear of the wall. He's clear of the back of the wall. His wings down, left down there. So he's definitely cleared of the back of the wall, backed it in.
That is an absolute disaster as Reitzower pits from 7th, which means Highlander's going to
make
back
sure
up
that
to
he's not
6th.
going to. Hopefully that's not going to be too long of a pit stop, and he doesn't have any dramas because he doesn't want to fall 2 laps down. That's for sure. That's going to give Emu.
No, you don't.
I'd say Emu's probably. Just see where Emu is on relative to the track. So right, there he is.
Emu's rounding
So
the
Emu
final
might be
corner.
getting 7th.
And will this be 7th? How far is Emu down? He will
There's
just
Reitzower there.
get him,
Just get him,
and
by the looks of that.
Emu gets to 7th. So, I mean, that is the commentator's curse. Triple Rotor Racing probably would have won the first session, but has thrown it
It's not
away.
over yet.
Well, yeah, the
Another,
gap's still
what,
a second.
3 laps.
Oh, and Triple Rotor brushing the wall slightly and getting a little bit out of shape, but I think Triple Rotor Racing, he's actually stepped on it now. He wants this position. He wants to get back into the mix of the race.
Oh, he'd be angry. He'd be angry with himself.
He just needs to keep a calm
Just a
head.
simple mistake, which he can do on that final turn at Murray's corner, is to get that power down a bit too early, and the car can get a little bit tail happy.
Yeah, these cars are very, very torquey in the low gears, and if you boot it, you're gonna go for a ride. But this definitely could be a battle that plays out at the end of the session. We're about to start lap 38, so we are running out of laps. And Speed Racer, yeah, he's just across the line now. So we have, yeah, so 3 laps to go essentially.
3 laps, yeah.
And, his Triple Rotor is dropping back a little bit. I think that rear wing is starting to hurt him a bit. I mean, he's falling out of the draft of Speed Racer, so Speed Racer might just be able to drive away.
Wouldn't be a Blade Racer like to see something happen between these two. Because Blade Racer's just there in the background, he'll get his lap back.
Or is that Shads?
No, that's Blade Racer.
Oh yeah, he'd definitely love that. I mean, he'd love it if the top 4 all just happened to crash and needed to come to pit road, and he could go up into the lead of the race. And that would be something, but it's probably unlikely. Whatever the case, battle here up front, it's 1.5 seconds between the two. And meanwhile, it could actually be pretty close between Emu and Reitzower at the end of this race.
Very
Because
close.
Reitzower's got the run off the first corner, and this is the battle for 7th and 8th. So this will be effectively second of the car, well, third of the cars that are a lap down at the moment, because the race is sort of split into 2 halves, and well, Reitzower will definitely be looking for a way by.
How many laps is Lloyd? Lloyd is 2 laps down, would he be? Won't know till the end, I think.
Oh, and meanwhile, Reitzower
He's having a good look,
inside.
Reitzower.
He certainly is. And I think Reitzower probably looks a little bit quicker than Emu right through here. And he looked to the inside again, but the gap just wasn't there. And he's chasing after Emu. He'll probably try and make a move into Forest Elbow or down the Conrod Straight. Now into Skyline. Right, so right with Emu at the moment. It's lap 39 for the leaders at the moment. So Speed Racer's on lap 39, but the battle is here on lap 37, so a few laps earlier. And
I think Rice's got a good run out this final corner there.
Well, the Forest Elbow anyway. And he's slipstreaming. Emu coming down the straight. He might be in a position to make a move through the chase, but it might not go too well for him. Let's see how close he is coming through the chase. He's right there with him. Will he try and move into the chicane? No, he'll hold station for the time being, and maybe we'll try a switch back. And he's got the run off the chicane as well.
Yeah.
I think he's got a bit more grip than Emu at the moment. Emu's making that car as wide as a bus at the moment, but it probably won't be good enough to defend from Right Sower as he runs wide, and Right Sower goes up to 7th place as they start lap 38. And
the leader's on 39, so...
Leader's on 39.
Yeah.
So this will be a battle that plays out right at the end. Battle up front is looking like it's all said and done at the moment. Well, almost all said and done anyway. Gap is 1.9 seconds between Speed Racer and Triple Rotor in first and second position. So we'll just watch this for the time being. Right so is tight, and almost, well, he dipped a wheel into the grass and was almost passed by Emu.
Yeah, he ran up on the inside curve of the cut. Oh, not the cut-in. What is it? The
Griffin's Bend.
Griffin's Bend, yeah.
Yeah, these two. Well, it looks like Right so was just starting to pull away a little bit. But that was very, very close. He could have lost that position there. A very exciting scrap between these two.
Some of these cars look like they're a little bit of a handful over the top. You can just see Emu's sort of struggling the way that Right so's been able to gap him here over the top.
Yeah, so
just go over to Lloyd to see what lap Lloyd's on.
Colonel Lloyd.
If you don't mind.
He's on lap 38, so yeah.
So
and then also
2 laps down.
Yeah, Speed Racer. He's on lap 40 at the moment, and he's pulled out nearly a 3-second gap to Triple Rotor Racing on the final lap. The first part of the session that looked so easily to be Triple Rotor's, but he'll lose out right at the end. Unfortunately, he spun it on lap 37. A lot of fast cars, maybe not doing as well as they could have done, but cars that maybe weren't so great, they've really capitalised on people making mistakes and just good strategy, and they've got themselves into better positions.
Yeah, definitely. Just close that little gap this last lap, and he wants to make sure that he's right there on the hammer. Doesn't want to miss out. He wants to make sure Speed Racer knows that he's still there, and it's going to continue on to race to the second session.
So Speed
Shad's
Racer
sort of, I think Shad's has just had a conservative. I think he might have touched the wall a little bit, and he's just realised he's just sort of managed himself, so to just make sure he doesn't make too many bad mistakes, so he can still be in third.
And here he is, Speed Racer, rounding the final corner, and he'll be in the lead at the end of Session 1 of the 2019 Bathurst 1000. Speed Racer, he's done it. He's brought it home, and I think he's handing over to Darky for next session. Triple Rotor Racing brings it home in second. He'll be pretty disappointed at that. He would have won the session, but it wasn't to be. Meanwhile, Shad's rounding the final corner. He'll be coming across the line in third position. And some of these other guys as well.
So Lockie's the last car on the lead lap, is that correct? So Blade Racer only just missed out on getting Speed Racer to get back on the lead lap.
I can't tell what lap Lockie's on. I think he is just on the lead lap. Very, very just. Blade Racer unfortunately looks like he's missed out on the lead lap. So I think everyone's almost just crossed the line. Emu will be coming across soon. And right, so we'll do it. So the guys that will be battling.
Well, we've got the top 4 basically in on the lead lap.
Top 4 all on the lead lap, so that'll be a battle that plays out right from the get-go. That'll definitely be very interesting to see. Underdog, probably the number 9 car. Didn't expect to see it that far up, but the strategy played out well.
So we're going to have a look. We're going to see Dark Racing 40 in the number 5 Vesmont Automotive take control in session 2, and then we'll have Dado Racer in the number 9 Lemenzi Racing, and Uncrewed Squid in the number 43 Kevinese, and then myself, Woody Lizard, in the number 38. The 29 Exeter Racing.
Yeah.
And I'll just get a screenshot here of this.
So after session 1, it's Speed Racer leading the way, followed by Triple Rotor Racing, Shads, Lockie, Blade Racer. Sorry, I should also say Lockie is the last driver on the lead lap. Then it's Blade Racer, Highlander, Right Sower, EMU, Vanish, Colonel Lloyd, and Cringy Criminal rounds off the field in 11th place. We should also see who got the fastest lap. Those honours goes to Triple Rotor Racing, who was the only man who set a 2:01, so a 2:01.878 for Triple Rotor Racing, and that rounds off session 1 for the Bathurst 1000 for 2019.
Yeah, and please join us in roughly about half an hour's time when we probably will get the second session up. We're just a little bit behind schedule, but we'll get that sorted out. And thanks for joining, and we'll look forward to your coverage. I mean, your viewing in the next half hour or so to watch session 2. Bring your raincoat and your umbrella. Thank you, Gear. It's been a pleasure, mate. I can't wait to join you again in the final session, session 4.
It should be good, and I can't wait to see you there as well.
All right. Well, checking out. Thanks again, and until tomorrow afternoon, I will be racing for the sessions 2 and 3. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Bye.